Well, hey guys, welcome officially to Certainty for Uncertain Times. It is Friday night, and I am your host, Lauren. I am so excited you are here tonight. If you are new to this channel is all about helping you navigate through the chaos, the clown world, and the dumpster fire that we are all living through. But we do it through the lens of the Bible, and we connect the most crucial dots to Bible prophecy because it is happening in and around you, whether you believe it or not. So if you are looking for a channel that is going to help you to connect all of the Bible's prophetic puzzle pieces, then guess what? You're here. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, notification bell, all the things, and stay tuned for this channel and what you're going to get from it because we just talk a lot about all the crazy going on in the world. Now, before we dive into this episode of Voices of Certainty, and I bring on one of everybody's favorite guests and one of my dear friends at this point now, as much as we've gotten to know each other over the last couple of years, just a few quick reminders. Subscribe to my newsletter. It is the place where I send out all kinds of updates, all the podcasts, all the things that I'm watching to keep up with current events, and it kind of keeps you from having to go through all the trash news. All right. So that's a great place to go. Check the description box for all the goods, the resources, links to connect with Matt's ministries. All of that stuff is down below. Discount codes for various items, t-shirts, all the good stuff. It's down there. And let's see, that is it for the description box. And of course, I want to give a huge shout out, by the way, to everybody who is supporting this channel, whether you are doing it financially, you're praying, you're commenting, you're sharing. Guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. You guys are the reason that this channel is gaining so much traction, and I appreciate every single one of you. You guys are such a blessing. And so I just wanted to mention that as well. And if you do feel led to donate to this channel or you want to support a ministry and you're considering this one, you can do that down in the description box at the links below. And last but not least, we're going to have a Q&A as always. All right. So buckle up. If you guys have questions tonight, go ahead and throw them down in the description box. Keegan will have a way that you will type them in so she will see them. And she and Sarah will be monitoring the chat tonight. Thank you to my two awesome moderators who are also two dear friends of mine that I've met online. Like, how cool is it that I've met so many awesome friends online, but they are doing amazing things down in the comments and monitoring the chat. So Sarah and Keegan, love you girls so much. And with all the announcements done and the reminders, let me go ahead and bring on my buddy Matt. Hey, Matt, how's it going?
Oh, hey. Oh, how's it going? It's a long time no see. Yeah.
Yes, I know. Dude, I was so bummed last month that we didn't get to connect because we do a monthly show. I had people emailing me, where's Matt? Why aren't you guys doing a show? And I'm like, well, our schedules suck this month, so we're going to have to shoot for April.
I know it sucks when life gets in the way, you know, like actual living jobs and the responsibilities.
Make money, pay bills, all the goofy things that we have to do.
I feel like some people forget this is like our hobby, you know, like this is like I wish it could be my full-time thing, but here we are. And there's a lot to talk about, unpack. And I'm so happy that it's a Friday and people can be here in the chat. And again, I just love this community so much. Like, God is so cool. Like, you're talking about, making friends and, the moderators and everything online. And with mine and Alina's ministry with Live by Faith today, it's been so awesome with our fellowship groups and just connecting with brothers and sisters and watching what God's doing. And that's what this is all about. Like, again, like we were talking about before the show, we don't have to agree on every little thing, right? Like secondary issues, but it's so cool to talk with people who are brothers and sisters who just want to connect and grow together. And it's been so cool. So I love this community. I love coming on your show and talking, and it's just a good time.
Yeah, dude. And this community of people is great. Let me tell you what happened today. So apparently when I changed our thumbnail the other day and I uploaded your new beautiful picture that you sent me. Yes, I loved it. And so I went into Talk Studio. I went to change it, and Talk Studio has some dumb stuff they need to fix, right? So I uploaded it, but what it did was it changed the time because I uploaded that new thumbnail at 11:27 on Wednesday morning. So what it did was change the time to 11:27 today. So all these people in the chat were here early at 11:30 my time this morning. And
that makes so much sense.
Is that Lauren okay? Are they all right? And so Bubba News texted me. And he's like, hey, just checking in. Are you and Matt all right? And I'm like, huh? And so then he's like, yeah, I told the chat I would get in touch with you. I'm like, the chat? And I'm driving because I had something happen this morning, an emergency situation with my mom that I actually want to talk about here too. But so I'm driving and I'm like, oh my gosh, I look at the chat and I see that. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So I just got online real quick and I was like, hey guys, this is what's going on. So yeah, so that happened this morning and it was just kind of funny. But that's how serious these people are about coming and hanging out with us all in this community of people. It's so cool.
It's family. That's the point of the minute. It's family, and I'm so tired of like how like box churches try to like just diminish like ministry online. Like, get out of here. Like, we're still able to connect, we're still able to fellowship, and this was all about, and we can talk about what's going on in the world with a kind of lighthearted and make fun about it. So yeah, I'm looking
And
forward to this
sarcasm.
show.
We have to have
Oh man.
sarcasm. Yes.
Oh my goodness. I'm telling you right now, like people who talk about end times that don't have a sense of humor, they're the worst. It's like, you got to have humor with what's going on. Like comedy comes from tragedy. God gave us
Right.
comedic relief for a purpose, and he has the perfect sense of humor. So we got to have it.
Yeah.
So
Agreed. Well, let me lift up this prayer request really quick, just because I know everybody knows that like Lance and I have been going through so much trial and turmoil for the last 5 years, right? With our business and all the things. God's doing some amazing things on that front. And yes, guys, I promise we are going to get on and do a show together, Lance and I both, to talk about all the amazing things and literally do a big like teaching, so to speak, on prayer. But we just haven't, as crazy as it sounds, even though he's my husband, our schedules don't always mesh. And sometimes at the end of the week, we're also just like dead. So today I get up and apparently I had missed some calls from my mom. She was going down to Branson today with her church group. She's a part of a widows group. And they were going down to Branson to do some him hawing down there. And she called me and she said, "Hey, I need you to come get me. I'm in St. Clair, which is about an hour from me." And I was like, "What's going on?" And they rushed my brother. My brother is 7 years younger than me. They rushed him off via ambulance to the hospital. And so what I wanted to share with everybody is I'm asking for prayer requests. I have not really kind of dove into a lot of my family history on here, but my brother had a heart transplant and a kidney transplant. He had a heart when he was 6 weeks old and a kidney when he was 16. And then in 2020, he was diagnosed with T-cell lymphoma, given 90 days to live, beat that by the grace of God. Like my brother is a walking miracle. Well, unfortunately, his heart and kidney have given out. He got sick with a strain of the flu last year, and we won't get into all those details, but we all know how some of these even normal viruses that people get sick with have changed. And that sickness just completely just trashed his heart and kidney. So my brother is actually on the waiting list for a double transplant right now. And so I'm just asking for everybody to be praying. I'm actually believing for miraculous healing for him. But if not, because God is able, we just don't always know that that's how he's going to work things out. But I'm believing for that until he goes to the transplant table, right? But if not, I know the Lord will provide a perfect match. My brother has one of the most successful and perfect matches in transplant history for his heart. When he was 6 weeks old, his little heart fit into a cough syrup cup. That's how little it was. So I've literally seen so many just amazing miracles with my brother, but if y'all could be lifting him up, because most likely he's not going to be able to come home from the hospital this time. It sounds like what they're going to be doing is keeping him until these things are done. And like I said, this is a double transplant situation. And if anybody knows anything about the heart, you got to have one to live. So it's kind of a big deal. So just a little bit just like jarring today to know that this is what's going on. And so I just kind of wanted to just like throw this out here for everybody to just be praying in agreement with us. We know that that our God is a great physician, and I don't care if his doctors are pagan. I don't care what God they serve. They will be led by the power of the Holy Spirit and by the power of our God, seeing over my brother's case. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there tonight and ask everybody to be praying for him. His name is Isaiah, which means God is my helper. My mom literally had that name given to her by the Lord when she was pregnant with him. This is what you're to name this kid. And I'll be darned, man, God has been his helper his entire life. So anyway, so I just want to totally just give everybody that and just ask everybody to be praying for our family. And I will totally keep everyone updated as we kind of roll through how all this goes in the coming days, weeks, and months. So
yeah. That's so powerful. Like I didn't even know you could do a transplant on a child's heart. Like that is wow.
It was like, and to think about the intricacy, like this doctor was like, and here's what's crazy. My parents and so I was 7 years old. We lived in Texas at the time, and my mom and dad moved up to Missouri because my dad got a job transfer. My parents had went bankrupt because of my dad's medical issues. My dad had open heart surgery when he was 30. They owed 7 years on their house in Texas, lost it all because of medical debt. Okay. And so what they thought was that the Lord was moving them to Missouri for my dad in this other job that he was going to be working. That ain't why. St. Louis was the #1 hospital for heart transplants at this time in 1993. And the surgeon that did my brother's transplant was the top surgeon in the country. So it's amazing. And so like when this happened, my mom didn't even know she was pregnant. She found out she was 6 weeks pregnant. I think maybe she did know she was pregnant right before the move or right after. So literally they had moved to Missouri, no family, no nothing. They have a 7-year-old and my mom's pregnant. And then they find out their unborn child has his left ventricle never formed. Now the doctor said, we all should just go ahead and abort this kid because he ain't going to have a life. Just get rid of him. And my parents were like, absolutely not. And so anyway, so they moved up here for that. And that's what the Lord did. So, and we prayed for miraculous healing on him then, but that wasn't the Lord's plan. The Lord's plan was to glorify himself through everything that he did. And through Isaiah's entire life, he's just been a walking miracle. So, man, it's just been cool to see what God has done with him. So while this is like, it's nerving, I'm just not, I don't know. I'm not worried at all. I'm not worried about my brother's mortality, if that makes sense. Like I believe he's gonna be going up into rapture. You know, like that's what I believe. So anyway, yeah, that's just kind of a little backstory, you guys.
Oh yeah. Well, he was born in 1993. So what you're saying?
93. Yeah.
Wait, yeah. What month?
June.
What day?
16th. What's your birthday?
21st, 1993.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And
Okay, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. And I had a heart issue too. I was born with a hole in my heart. And I was like and there was some drug that came out like that year that kept me alive. Like if I was born in 92, I wouldn't be here right now. Like it was pretty traumatic. Like my mom was like taken away, and I was like all these tubes going in me, and they weren't sure if my heart was going to develop and all this. But I just found that interesting. So that's 5 days. So your brother was born, and then 5 days later, I was same with heart issues. So that's pretty cool.
And
here
wild.
We are.
And isn't that that's so funny because when I think about you, I'm like, he's like a little brother. Well, now it makes sense because you are my brother's age.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's the little things like that God does. It's just so cool. It's little connections and little things that only he could do, like only can be explained by God. So we'll be praying for Isaiah, and that is such a powerful testimony. And that it's I got no doubt that God, whether through the doctors or again the rapture. I mean, tomorrow's Passover, right? We got Pentecost coming up.
Right,
a lot of weird things. So I'm like, just hoping. So.
Yeah, right. No, it's very true, and that's the thing. It's I've seen him literally walk from one trial through another, and the Lord has sustained him every step of the way. And he's got an amazing wife. His wife literally she is a Proverbs 31 woman if I've ever seen it, and it's just amazing. And she used to be a pagan. She was married to a transgender at one time, got saved. Like sometime we'll have to have her come on and give her testimony. Like Megan's story is unbelievable. And she got saved. She was into new age, like witchcraft, all of those things, crazy. And so here she is loving Jesus with all she's got. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
It is. That's way cool.
Done. Yeah.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, dude, we have got some stories tonight. So
there's a lot to talk about in the age of chaos right now. So here we are.
Yes, we are living through it. Okay, well, so point number one I've got. So let's talk about this. You, by the way, on this subject, the dire wolves, you did some great videos on Instagram this week. So if people haven't had a chance to get on your Instagram and do a little short content, highly recommend all of Matt's videos this week that have come out about the dire wolf. Let me pull up this article real quick. I'm gonna try to share my screen. Hopefully it works. Let's see. Let me see here. Share. Go ahead and fill the awkward silence, Matt.
Start dancing, start playing. Start playing. I got me and Lena have been playing the hand pan. I don't know if you know what that instrument is, so that's been fun. I can start doing that right now. Yeah, it's wild. It's actually wild. It's like this little like circular. It looks like a UFO thing, and you press it. It kind of tap on it. It makes music. So it's been fun. But okay, here we go. Good thing I don't have to do that right now. I don't want to embarrass myself.
So, okay. That's hilarious. I would let you embarrass yourself if you want to go ahead and get.
Yeah. No, we can save that for a different time, different show.
Okay. All righty. Can you see this article?
I sure can.
Okay, because it says you're currently sharing your screen, but I don't know what y'all can see. Okay, so here we go. Scientists say they have resurrected the dire wolf. Now, I don't know if anybody has seen these puppies howl, but by the way, I must say it is the cutest thing ever. I listened to that howl and I was like, oh, the little animal activist in me went wild. So, so Matt, you did a lot of stuff on this week, but the one thing I want to point out is that I kind of got snowed by the news with this because first of all, these puppies were born in October. Was it October of 2024?
Yep.
Right?
So the two brothers were October, then the one sister was December or January, I think.
Okay. And so the weird thing about this is that I think what the news reported. Oh, we're getting an ad on that. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know why. They reported that this was actually a dire wolf, but it's not. It's actually gene modification for the gray wolf. And I think that's really the thing to point out. So it's kind of like we're seeing that whole, all the gene editing, all the things. So I wanted to just at least show the puppies because I just thought they were so cute, regardless of what we think. But Matt, when you saw that this week, what were you thinking when you first saw that article?
Yeah, so it's the symbolism because like you said, they didn't actually resurrect the dire wolf. It's just genetic altering a different type of wolf to then have these attributes of a dire wolf. But it's the symbolism, how I see it. It's the messaging behind it because they waited 7 months to then bring this news out. So like, why? First of all, like, why would you wait? So it's very strategic, in my opinion. Then they really blanketed the news media. Like this, it was everywhere. It was everyone was talking about it. Joe Rogan has the founder of the colossal bioscience on. There's a lot of weird symbolism too with the name Benjamin everywhere, because the name of the guy is Benjamin, a lamb, which again, the tribe of Benjamin is known as the ravenous wolf. People made fun of me because my speech impediment, I go wolf instead of
so
wolf.
Here's the thing.
Wolf.
We follow this gal who has a cat, and his name is Werewolf. So when I heard you say that, I thought of werewolf. I think it's cute. Like I can call him Woof. That's fine.
Oh yeah,
just not the L. That's fine.
When I was a kid, I went through speech, class and everything, trying to fix my impediment. So this is the best you got. All right. So yeah,
I like it. Go with it.
So again, so Benjamin, right? And then like you see Benjamin in the news lately with Benjamin Netanyahu, which again, symbolism. Then there was an article about Iran threatening to assassinate Trump, and the writer of that article again was Benjamin. It's just popping up everywhere, right? So a lot of this like wolf symbolism, and then again bringing up all these articles talk about resurrection or coming back to life, and then they talk about Game of Thrones, where the dire wolf is in Game of Thrones. Which interesting enough, you have a lot of symbolism there with Jon Snow, which has this like messianic antichrist figure who gets stabbed by his brothers, who then is resurrected by this witch through magic, that is then brought back to life by the Lord of Light, which is Lucifer, in this storyline. So just a lot of weird symbols. Not sure what to really make of it all. Again, it could just be a whole lot of nothing, but just looking at the messaging and the week that this happens is the chaotic week with the tariff war, Iran again threatening. You have, China, right, and the stock market just going crazy. And just the word dire, dire wolf, like dire means a dire situation. Yeah. So, yeah. And then we also know in scripture that the enemy is alluded to the wolf, right? That, wolf in sheep clothing type of deal. So just like, again, just information pattern recognition, it could all just be nothing. It could just all be a distraction because there's so many psyops where they just want to try to distract people away from what's going on. Look over here, slide a hand instead of looking over there. But at the very least, in my opinion, it shows the days of Noah because, again, my opinion, I think you agree that Genesis 6 verse 5, or that whole chapter, is about the sons of God, which are the B'nai Elohim, the fallen angels, mating with women to try to corrupt the genetic lineage to break up. Trying to break the first prophecy of Genesis 3:15 of the seed of the woman. So that idea of gene editing. So when Jesus talks about, as in the days of Noah, so will be the coming of the Son of Man, right? I see that also with genetic alteration. And I also believe that the mark of the beast will have something to do with editing our genome, or those who take the mark to then not become human anymore. And that is why they will be unredeemable. So it's a slow transition. It's a slow progression of slowly indoctrinating people of, oh, this is cool. Like, oh, look.
So you got to have that acceptance piece for sure. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And that's also why you have like the trans gender movement that is slowly then going to be the transhumanist agenda, which again, and then the superhero just propaganda everywhere, like Marvel. Like, again, I like superhero movies, no doubt, but they want to indoctrinate people like with the X-Men stuff. Like, they want people to think this is cool. So then when they bring about the bio-digital convergence, where they mix, artificial intelligence with our biology, they will give you superpowers. It's going to, whatever, right? Super strength, super intellect. It's going to be a cool thing, which will then obviously tie into worshiping the Antichrist and the mark of the image of the beast in the end. But so there's a lot of end time symbolism going on, which is very interesting. And like, a lot of things are just converging. A lot of things are coming together. So it's just a lot to kind of unpack. And sometimes I know you and like everyone else in the prophecy community, it can be overwhelming at times. Like every day, you take one day off, like either you go on your phone, you're like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It's like, what? Like, it's so hard to keep up. Like, I like to do my end times update stuff, but sometimes like I just can't keep up. Like I save things and I'm about to make a video and it's already old news, like a day old. Like, oh, people, it's on to the next one.
It is. And here's what's crazy to me, dude. Like, you make like 4 videos a day. I don't even know how you do that.
I used to. I gotta be honest with you. My motivation has plummeted. I was very motivated and just pounding it out as much as I can. And right now I'm trying to do one a day, that's like, and that's me like just squeezing it, just trying so hard to stay motivated, because sometimes it can really just start wearing on you. We're like, okay,
Oh,
like,
I know.
all right.
I know. I
Yeah.
know it. That's very true. When I was doing all the content for Instagram before I got serious about YouTube, I was just like worn out from it. I'm like, yeah, no. And then you feel like you got to
Yeah.
live on the platform. I don't want to do that. Like, I'm on those platforms that, honestly, just regrettably, but it's, this is my platform. I love YouTube. I love the community. I love the people. You get a family like we talked about on YouTube, and I have that on Instagram too, but it's, I've met a lot of awesome people obviously through Instagram, but at the same time, it's just like, I don't know, TikTok. I loathe like that. We've talked about that one. I just cannot do.
Oh, I totally agree that YouTube is the best with the community. So I love that as well. And like I loathe X. X is such a love-hate relationship because I get all
Yeah.
my information from X. So it's like this, like it has you where it goes like, if you want the news, if you want the information, that's where it's at. But it's also hard to know that is the Beast app. Like that's literally, like in my opinion, that is going to be the app where the mark of the beast will be tied to, and Grok will be the AI that surpasses and will merge, and everyone's going to be, jumping on there. So it's like, man, someday I will have to jump off there. But it is tough. Like you said, like sometimes you feel like you're living on it, and it is what it is. I wish some people had more understanding for what we kind of go through, because I've had people where they get mad, like, oh, you don't respond to my comments or something. It's like,
oh, I'm inundated.
I know.
I do
it's
the
like
best I can, man. Yeah, I'm inundated. Like I literally set aside a couple hours a week just to respond to YouTube comments and emails. And like sometimes I get emails and they go in a folder until I can respond to them.
I know
it's tough. Like I wish I had time to sit and just reply to I really do, but I just don't. Like I'm working. I'm trying to be a wife and be a cat mom. Where's she at? She's over here. Like I have all these responsibilities, keep a house clean, I do my own hair and do my own nails. That takes a lot of time. Like, so I have all these things that I keep up with. So it's like, it's a lot. So yeah, I get it. I totally get it.
I know. I feel like some people think that we like live like in our mom's basement and we're like, that's all we do. It's like, no, like we got a full-time job, like you said, I got a wife, got a family, trying to do life as well. And also, have some type of recreation, enjoy my life too. You know what I mean? Like some people just lack of understanding, but that's also helping me be introspective to help with other people to understand their situation and not be so judgmental or so quick to, lash out, which that's what the Lord's been really working on me lately with everything going on, kind of working on my perspective, working on my emotional intelligence, working on how I present myself, how I respond to people, how I talk, trying to work on my confirmation biases as well. So with everything, because that's been a huge one where I'm watching like mainstream pastors who I used to respect and love. And I know we were talking about this offline, where I can't even watch them anymore because they're so biased with their reporting. Like they're so biased. If Biden did an ounce of what Trump is doing right now with the technocratic takeover, with the with all this biometric stuff, with the cryptocurrency economy, with the trade war, right? If Joe Biden did an ounce of that, they would have gone ballistic. Imagine if Joe Biden made a crypto coin, a meme coin, and then
had his picture on it. Yeah.
Imagine, oh my goodness, the right would have been seething. They would have been crying like
this is idolatry. Like I know.
It's crazy. It's so hypocritical. It is so insane. It's so weird to be like in this position now, because like all you hear about, like a lot of the pastors, right, talking about the woke left. The conservative right have become the same thing. They are crybabies just as equal. It's like, you guys are literally just the other side of the spectrum. Jesus is the path down the middle. Don't go to the left or the right, like down the middle. And it just, I'm having a hard time with that. But what it does for me, it helps me be introspective, look at myself like, okay, I do not want to carry myself like that. I do not want to be biased like that. I want to be able to have conversations with individuals who have a disagreement, and we can talk about it and still fellowship, love, or whatever, right? Like just be Christ-like, because that's what we are supposed to be, right? With Jesus inside of us, be an example, and not having these just predetermined, presuppositions, and just, it's, that's my little rant, because it gets me pumped up. Like, it gets me fired up when I see, like, there's specific pastors for sure, I won't name, but ones that are like so political, which again, if you want to be unbiased, Cool, call out both sides, but they only call out the Democratic left, but they won't talk about Curtis Yarvin. They won't talk about Elon and his bringing the God out of Memphis, Tennessee, and merging us with AI, and wanting to bring in the Everything app that will also bring cryptocurrency, blockchain technology. No, don't talk about that, right? Don't talk about Palantir and Peter Thiel and the immigration issue with the whole biometrics. Like right now, that's a big one. That's the Trojan horse, in my opinion, Lauren, where they are hammering the immigrants with and looking at their social media, right?
I know,
About
man.
they're anti-Semitic, right? And then also if they have paid taxes, that the IRS has given them given DHS information if immigrants have paid taxes. That is a Trojan horse, because whatever they're doing to them, sooner or later it will come
Turn
to
on
us.
the people. That's right.
It's the same tactic over and over again, but yet the conservative right, they can't see it. It's like, okay,
they don't want it, but I think a lot of it, Matt, they don't want to see it, because I think a lot of people, and here's the thing, I relate. I've been here when you got your tail between your legs because you've made the wrong decision and you got to come out and own it. It is hard. It really is hard. And I mean, it took me a long time to get to where I'm at on President Trump. It did. Like, I didn't want to hear what people had to say. I didn't want to look at the articles. I just didn't want to. I did not want to, because I was afraid of my paradigm just being shattered. And it was. When I figured out everything about George Bush, I worked for the Bush campaign in 2004. I met Dick Cheney at the fairgrounds in my local town, shook that dude's hand. And when I figured out about Bush, I cried because I felt so duped. So it was like, to think that could happen again, because I had put all of my hope into, this guy that I thought was for me, I didn't want to do it. But I'll tell you what, the biggest freedom came when I finally just was surrendered it and was like, nope, he's one of them. It really was. And by the way, this is totally random, but you should be able to see the chat on your end. There should be a little button up there. Like, if you want to see the chat, you can pull it up. I can't see everything.
Oh, yeah.
Everything goes so fast, but you can see
429. What is
I know. So there's such cool
nice.
people. We got a lot of people.
Nice. Right on.
But that way you can see it. So if anybody says anything we want to address in real time, if we happen to see it, since, Keegan and Sarah are doing their thing too. Okay. So I have to say this before we move on from this dire wolf situation. When I saw this the other day, all I went back to was Jurassic Park. Like, I was just going like, oh my gosh, we're going to see dinosaurs again. Like, I was literally going there in my mind. And, by the way, I love that movie. I love the Jurassic Park movie. But did you think about the same thing? Just like going back to the movie and seeing how they took the DNA, and I was seeing that little, was he like a worm or something that was in the movie that was showing how they did it?
It's either a worm
DNA strands
or a mosquito. No, was it a mosquito? No, I think you're right. Yeah, I think it might have been.
Yeah, it was a mosquito that they took it from.
Yeah.
But of course, they used frog DNA, which is interesting, by the way. I was going back to that movie thinking about the frog symbolism, right? But I was just thinking about that because, again, the big thing with this is that it was a genetic modification. And I think you hammered so much of this home. I don't really even need to say too much about it, but just simply put, it's that indoctrination piece to get everybody very comfortable with resurrecting these animals from extinction. And was it a couple of weeks ago that they even did this? They had a woolly mammoth mouse. Did you see that?
Yep, which are adorable once again. So
they're
they're killing us with cuteness. That's again, they're killing us. Yeah,
I know. And it's kind of like How to Train Your Dragon. Have you seen that movie?
Yeah, that's ironic you said that. I've seen it before, and I just showed Alina about a week ago or so because she never saw it. So yeah.
Oh, okay. So Lance and I love all those movies, but they get you with the eyes,
They do.
It's so all of these like movies, and even there's one movie. What is it called? He has a robot, and who is in it? I can't think of who's in it. Ah, crap. Lance is in the other room. I wish I could yell and he'd hear me. Probably could. But there's this movie where this kid starts training a robot to beat up other robots in like this. Shoot, I'll have to think of the name of it and put it in the comments later. But it's a really good movie. But again, it's a robot. But you fall in love with the robot because he's so cool, and so that's how they get you, And so again, I know some of these things are harmless that we're talking about, but we have to be aware that there's this indoctrination piece that's going on, whether it's a movie about a robot or a cute little dragon that's adorable, or they're resurrecting mouse that is now a woolly mammoth. So that's the key piece. So for me, it is definitely coming back to the Genesis 6 narrative. And I think this is, again, why, though, I don't believe that these people, I don't think all of them know to the degree some of them are completely submissive to the will of Satan and they're doing what they're doing, you know. I don't think all of them are, but in saying that, this is why I also don't think many of them are innocent in what they're doing, because I think they know the truth and they that's their goal, is to make man the creator so that man can be God. And I think that is the ultimate agenda of a lot of these people, because they're so steeped in the occult. Do you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. A lot of it is the conditioning of having sympathy for, like you're talking about, like the eyes and making you fall in love like these robots. And I think it's going to tie back in with artificial intelligence as well. That's one thing that I've been seeing, which is really scary. And that's really where my finger has been, like, on the pulse, where if people want to argue that, oh, we still have 50 years, 100 years, right, until Jesus comes back, artificial intelligence and the technology with that, it doesn't add up. It doesn't add up,
No,
unless there's some type, unless, like, again, Apophis hits in 2029 and wipes that all away, and then we are not even close, whatever.
Right.
But that technology alone and how advanced it's getting, and how people are falling in love with their AI, with their chatbots, it's becoming their own god. And it's this sympathy thing where, you know, people are having this sympathy where they think it's going to be a human, right? And we do that all the time. We look at our dogs and our pets and we kind of, you know, make them like a human per se, but it's going to be really scary. We all do, but it's going to be really scary when it's an artificial intelligence and a robot that people are now going to want to give, you know, human rights to. And it's a slippery slope. And I'm so convinced that it's going to be the image of the beast will be artificial intelligence at some level, that the AI, you know, the Antichrist is going to merge with AI to have this deity, you know, form or power. And that's why I think the mark of the beast will have something to do with AI, because people will willingly worship their AI. They love it, especially ones who don't believe in God. You know, why do you need to pray? You can talk to Chat GPT and ask it for any advice. You know, what should I do with my medical thing? Here's my blood. You know, tell me what I need. You know, and it gives you an answer like that. So that right there is such a slippery slope, because there's no faith in it. There's no faith with God and praying and having a relationship with Him. You have your AI God that is going to mimic you, that is going to know you so intimately, that will know everything about you. I'm not sure if you looked into artificial intelligent like AI twins or clones, the digital twin or digital agents. That's a big thing. Yeah. So it's not even just for humans, it's for like all these different things, but it's a whole other rabbit hole where it's the AI or artificial intelligence agent or twin, where one day, you know, we're all going to have our AI twin that helps you do everything in life. That's going to make your life easier. It's going to literally be you, but in the computer, a digital form that knows all your, you know, social media, how you talk, you know, all your messages, how you've spoken to people, everything you've searched, right? Like it will know you more intimately than you know yourself. So then it has all your face, right? So then it will be able to present yourself on the computer, or at that time probably hologram. But it's concerning. It really is. And they're already trying to push this AI agent thing. Another thing for people in the chat, if you guys want to look up AI 2027. It's a paper, a PDF paper that these guys who are big into AI, they wrote what they think is going to happen in the next 3 years, and they are recording what's happening now. And they're predicting by the year 2027 is where we will have artificial superintelligence. And right now, this year, it's all about the AI agent, how AI is making your life easier or your work easier. But then soon it's going to just take over completely. And this war with China, we're there. Like, you know, people don't want to see it, but we're there, you know. And then you mix that with Iran, Third Temple, Israel, geopolitical, economic crisis, right? Earthquakes, tornadoes, like you combine all of that, we're out of here, guys. You know, like, you know, we're here. Like,
beam
we're
me
here.
up, Jesus.
We're here.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, like, I've been pretty outspoken about this. Like, I don't think AI is inherently evil. I don't believe that. I don't believe it's demonically possessed. I think that we'll get to those points, but not right now. And as a business owner and things of that nature, like, there are a lot of aspects of it that are really helpful, especially when you're a one-man band doing a lot of things. Like, there are pieces of it. But again, it's all about that awareness piece of being aware, at least in my opinion. People can disagree with that, and that's okay. I'm not offended by that. But it's being aware of where it's going, because it is going to be used for the B system. And the reason, you know, that I kind of take that stance on it is because we could say the same thing about these suckers. Like, if these, like, y'all, my phone is an Apple phone. It literally has on the back of it an apple
yeah.
with a bite
Yep.
taken out of it. What do y'all think that represents? Now, I know that the Bible doesn't say that, Eve and Adam, they had a bite of an apple, but that's the story that everybody tells. And that's what this is based on. So the point is like, everything that we use, y'all, it's probably coming from fallen angel technology to some degree with the tech that we're getting into. It just has to. So, it's really, for me, this is why I feel like as a Christian, we have to be aware of what's going on, and we have to be in the know about where it's all going, because there may come a point where you have to start drawing lines in the sand of what you're going to do, what you're going to use, and all those kind of things. And if you're not aware of what's going on, then you will just fall for whatever is coming at you. So that's my 2 cents on it. But man, it is wild how fast it's gone. Because I remember when ChatGPT came out in November, was it 2022? My years just all run together. But Lance and I were talking about it, and we were like, wow, this is this is crazy. And my husband is all into, like, he's the biggest tech geek there is. So he sees all this stuff, and it's crazy because, again, he's a preacher, rapture, dispensational believer, believes all this stuff. And it's just like, we're sitting here, we watch tech videos and stuff together, and he's like, babe, check out what they're going to be doing with this. And he's like, this is crazy, but you can see how this is going to like lead into the beast system later. And it's just like, we have these conversations that just go round and round and round and round because we know where it's eventually going. And it's just been wild to see how fast it has taken over. And I've mentioned this on another show, that Shane, the guy who's on with JB a lot, he's the guy who actually helped JB figure out what 9/11 was about and kind of got JB out of the system. But Shane is a big tech buff. And I remember listening to Shane last year. And he said something to the effect of, because again, he feels the same way, like AI inherently is not bad. It's got some good things to it, but it's going to be used eventually for all the negative things. At any rate, he was talking about how jobs are going to be replaced, 30-40% of the workforce. And he was talking about when this stuff would come to pass. And guess what? It's a happening. So that's the thing. So, anyway, there's my rants or my thoughts on AI. If you got anything to add to that and whatnot, and if not, we will move on.
That's a good one. I agree with you, where, like you're saying, like, where do you draw that line? Because the technology we're using right now is fallen angel technology. It's the black mirror. I actually just made a video on it about how Elon talks about where technology is magic. It really is. It's just it's as close to magic as we have. And if we were to go back 2,000 years ago and show a phone to the disciples, they would freak out. They like, get that. That's literally sorcery.
Get behind me, Satan.
Literally, they would be freaking out. So like, it is that fine line, but it is just knowing the agenda, and it's, having that own personal conviction for everybody, where sooner or later there will be a line in the sand, right? Just knowing where it is going. And that is the key that we have to really remember. And, one other thing I saw in the chat I wanted to bring up about the dire wolves, how they named the two twins. They named the two twins Romulus and Remus, which that goes back to Roman mythology of the two twin brothers that founded, or pretty much founded Rome. And we know that the Roman Empire is the last and final empire before Jesus comes back. And there's just so much Roman symbolism. I mean, we are Rome. I mean, in all intents and purposes, we are just an extension of Rome. All the Roman architecture, all the Roman just everywhere, just in our government. It's so deep. So again, just showing you that we are in this, end time, and the Roman Empire is being resurrected once again. So you have that term, resurrected. It's being rebirth, is coming back, and it's something, again, just the spiritualize and the symbolism there. So it's going to be interesting to see how then AI ties into all of that, especially because Elon loves Rome. He's obsessed with the Roman Empire.
Dude.
I get how some people are under the Trump deception. I get it. Trump is very charismatic. He's a master at his craft of deception. But how anyone who's a Christian can support Elon, it's like, how do you not see that dude is a psychopath? Like, how can you not see? Like, I don't get it. Like, I literally don't understand how people can just turn a blind eye. But again, it goes back to the cognitive dissonance, where it's like, well, Trump's good, but he's bad. And, Trump somehow is this genius who can do 12D chess, but he doesn't see through. It's such a, again,
it's such a, both.
Well, it goes back to the tariff thing, right? Like, the tariffs were good.
When we get there tonight. Goodness.
Oh, tariffs are good. They're good. We got to get that done. And then the 90-day pause. So he knows what he's doing. It's like,
I know.
What is it? Implement the
Oh my God.
tariffs or 90-day pause? Like,
Yeah.
what is it? Again, it's just the blind leading the blind. It's just the sheep going off the cliff, the Judas goat, in my opinion, leading the flock of people who are just, again, clinging to a leader. They want a leader so bad to trust in that they think he's going to do it. And it breaks my heart because it's like, there's only so much you can even say to people, because I get it. It's a hard issue. It's not going to be an intellectual issue. So,
No, totally. Okay. All right. We're going to get to all this because we have so much to get through. So speaking of AI and technology, this next clip that I'm going to show, hopefully the video shows for you guys. I'm going to pull it up here, but I have to give a big shout out to one of my coworkers over at Roadhouse. Sent this to me. Connor, thank you so much. But Connor sent this little video to me the other day, and he was like, Lauren, have you seen this? Because if you haven't, I think it might be good for your show. And let me hit the share screen again. Matt, you might have to fill the awkward silence here. Do you want to do your little dance thing you were talking about?
Oh, no, yeah. No, I can go on another rant. I can talk about Elon all day because it's just, I get like, I don't know if you've seen the Grok logo. I'm sure you've seen it, right? The black hole singularity.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, that one has really gotten me because that's Elon's profile, and that's the bottomless pit of Revelation 9/11, and it's got the Saturn symbolism, which is Apollyon or Abaddon, right? And Chronos, the golden age. And it's like, guys, the symbolism's right here. Like, it's right in front of you. He has a black hole with the Saturn ring and the name Grok, and that one blows my mind. Like, I could make videos all day about that, because Grok means to merge thoroughly with, to lose identity. And like in the space novel, or the novel Grok comes from, Grok is God, pretty much. It's this idea of like knowing everything. And Elon wants us to merge with Grok. It's like, that is the Antichrist right there. I'm not saying Elon's the Antichrist, but that's the spirit of, deny God. I know, trust me. Elon is, people, like, again, I don't think we'll know for sure until, the covenant's signed. But if there's anyone on my list who hits like all the check boxes right now, Elon is just checking them all off. Like, this dude, false prophet.
About his lineage, man.
Well, there's weird things. I'm sure you've heard or you've seen the interview from his nanny that talks about. Yeah, that's a weird one.
There's some interesting stuff there. I had somebody actually message me on Instagram telling me that she ran into his nanny at a prophecy conference.
Oh, really?
All right. Yeah. And the lady was telling her all about Elon. So it was pretty wild. So I'll just that's all I can say. It was wild. Okay. Yeah. Let me show this on the stream. Y'all ready for this? I'm sure everybody's seen it by now, but when Connor sent this to me, I was blown away. Okay. Let me hit play. Y'all ready? Hopefully y'all can hear it too. Here we go. I don't know if you can hear it or not. I can't hear it.
I can't hear it either, but I can see it.
That's all right. You can see it. Okay. So this is Kawasaki's hydrogen-powered robotic horse that you can ride. Okay. Now, this is all CGI right here. This is just them showing you how it would work. First of all, it looks like a horse. Secondly, it also looks like a Demogorgon if you are a Stranger Things fan. Slightly, just like a robotic version of the Demogorgon. But this sucker can get through terrain. It can take your family for a horseback ride. It can be used for a military weapon. Like, it is wild. So Connor sent me this, and it was so cool because he was like, doesn't the Bible say something about, I can't remember exactly how he worded it, but something to the effect of like, at the end times, at some point, like these, horsemen will ride on horseback towards each other. And he's like, I know I might be taking the Bible out of context. And I was like, no, actually, I said, let me just give you some insight into how this works. So I kind of was chatting with him a little bit about that. But in Ezekiel 38 and 39, we read about horses and riders being involved in a massive battle, right? Now, some people interpret this as like a literal cavalry, but many believe that Ezekiel was seeing modern warfare through a lens that he just could not understand. So if we think about it, and we think about a prophet from 600 BC seeing some kind of military convoy, a drone, or a robotic war horse like what we saw here, how else could that person describe them, right? It would almost be like handing this smartphone, just as like Matt was talking about, to somebody in the 1800s, and what would they call it? They wouldn't even, like, this would not make any sense to them seeing this and not knowing what to call it. So the same imagery also shows up in Revelation 9:16-17, when John sees horses with heads like lions and tails like serpents. Many scholars believe that John could have been witnessing military machines, AI-driven weaponry, or even genetically engineered creatures tied to demonic forces. So the whole point in seeing this is that it's just, again, it's another nail in the coffin for me, that we have to be that close to, the trumpet sounding and just the kickoff of the 70th week of Daniel, because we're seeing all these things come into play. And I think even years ago, I don't know, 10 years ago, if I would have had the wherewithal to think about some kind of like AI robotic horse that could, be militarized, but guaranteed, these are not going to be used just for people to, pill around in their backyard and take their kid on a robot horse ride. They're going to be used for military. So anyway, for me, this whole thing goes into that thinking of AI and robotics replacing the labor system, like what we were just talking about. And, again, just coming into that whole form of the beast control. So I wanted to show this today because I don't know if everybody has gotten a chance to see this from Kawasaki, but it just really got my wheels turning when Connor sent that to me. So Matt, what are your thoughts on seeing that video there of that, that Demogorgon horse looking thing that is a robot?
Well, first I want one, so
I know, right?
If it's compromised, whatever. But I kind of want one. But I think it's gonna. Cool. It looks cool, but again, it's one of those things where, like, again, it's the CGI. And for those who ever played video games in the past, they like the game developers would show like what the game's going to look like, and it's like, oh, this looks awesome, and then they release the game and it looks horrible. Like, this wasn't what you promised us. So once, like, I'll believe it once I see it, but we do know that the technology is going to be booming. And going back to the AI, where it's growing at it's an exponential rate, and it's not actually just exponential, it's a double exponential. So you have two different aspects. So you have the AI learning with the large language model learning at exponential rate, and then the technology with the chips are growing at an exponential rate. So you have this double factor, and we can't grasp how fast technology is moving and where it's going to be in a couple of years. So this could for sure just be there. And also, I think it will tie in biblically with end times, with these writers writing on something like that, because when you look into the biodigital convergence and 6G, they want to merge our human biology with machine. And the main goal is for military purposes. DARPA talks about it, where they can have military, individuals where they have the nanotech or whatever, that they can then man a drone, with their own body per se. So I could see in the future where they tie the soldier with this, whatever technology they put in that then connects them to the robot horse. So now they have this like instant connection with this horse, where they're just able to do these crazy things because they're so connected with it. Same thing with drones and flying stuff, like almost like Avatar, when they they plug into their dragon thing, and then they start flying around. So it's just, life is stranger than fiction at this point. It's like so wild. Every day something new comes out. And the Bible prophecies just jumping off the page. I mean, look at Iran with Jeremiah 49 about to unfold, with Elam, with the bow of Elam about to be broken. And it is wild. It is so wild that we're living in these times. And then we're able to, I think it's a tough like situation where like we can watch it all on our phone and see all these crazy things, and then like we turn off our phone and we go back to like, all right, well, I'm going to take my dog on a walk, and just everything's fine outside. It's like such a weird thing. It's like, it's so strange. It's such a weird reality we live in. Like, me and Alina were watching this old Vice documentary from 2017, which I want everyone to watch. It's on YouTube for free. It's called Trump in Dubai. And it shows actually how, again, it shows how evil, he's not a good person, guys. What they did with building his stuff in Dubai. Again, he tries to say that it wasn't him, as the contractors or whatever that they leased out, but to build his resort over there and the buildings, they would take immigrants from Pakistan, they'd bring them in, and then the employer would take all their passports. They wouldn't have their passport anymore. And then if they wanted to purchase it back, it would be like $1,000, but they would only pay them $1.50 an hour. So then they could never get out of it. So it was literally slave. It was slavery. I mean, you should see how. So, and they have them live like 2 hours off into the desert away from Dubai, and it shows them the living conditions. And again, it's just so wild. But that's a whole other tangent. But my whole point is, I'm watching this, right, and I'm seeing like how people are living, and then I'm over here like, I got warm water. I can walk outside, ride my bike. It's just a
You're paying
weird.
$20 for 12 eggs.
Yeah, right. I know exactly, and that's what I'm complaining about. I'm like, what's going on over here? Like, yeah, it's like, it makes you kind of just kind of reflect and just, man, even though I know it's getting bad here, 95% of the world is so terrible, and it makes you just. I can't wait to be with God to see, like, okay, like, why was I born here? And then this person was born there. Like, like,
I know, because we have such a blessing in it truly is a blessing to be an American. As crappy as things are right now, and as things are getting, it still is a major blessing to be here. I'm so thankful that the Lord said, hey, I'm giving you to Michael and Carlene, and you're going to be their daughter, and y'all are going to start out in Dallas, Texas. Woo. I'm glad, because I don't even know. And the wild thing to me, dude, by the way, total tangent, I won't veer off too far, but it is wild to me how even all of these other countries where people are like living in trees and things somehow have these suckers.
Well, because that goes back to the mark of the beast.
I know.
These things are a way of conditioning us to integrate into AI. Like, it's making us so dependent where even people in third world countries that can't have clean water, they have their phone. So again, that's how the mark of the beast will be global, even in areas that are completely, tribal. This is, again, how they're setting it up, and also why you have like Starlink trying to set up the internet globally. It's going to be the beast global setup. It is so crazy, like how everything is unfolding.
Which Starlink, I have to tell you this. So Monday night, I'm leaving Roadhouse, right? And it's like 10:30 at night. A little earlier. I walk out. I always take off the disgusting shoes we have to wear as servers, right? Because they're gross. I never get in my car with them. They're nasty. I put them back in the box that I bought them in. And I always change shoes out there, and I put them in the back of my SUV. And I look up into sky, and I see this train of lights coming over. I'm freaking out because I'm thinking I'm seeing like an alien invasion, right? And I could have sworn they were green. They look green to me. So I'm watching them. And I mean, it's probably 20 of them. And I'm just watching them and I get my phone out. I'm like trying to see, phone doesn't catch any of it, right? And then all of a sudden they just disappear. So I call Lance immediately on the way home, like, babe, you're never going to believe what I just saw. I just saw these UFOs, and it was 20 of them in a line. And I was like, and then they just disappeared. And I'm just like all amped up, like I had just had like a shot of Mountain Dew in my veins because I just saw this. Well, it turns out it was Starlink, but it was the wildest thing because I have not seen that yet in my state. And I found out it was Starlink because Lance's cousin actually posted it. They had seen it out in their area, and it was a lot more visible where they were at because they are way off in the country. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so it was the wildest thing, but I had not seen that. And it turns out Starlink had like released some kind of, I don't even know what they call it. I can't remember, but I looked it up. I was like, did they do something today? But it was like 4:06 p.m. They had released all these satellites. And apparently those of us living in, the Midwest are going to start seeing a lot more of them satellites around us going up. But it was the wildest thing. I've never seen anything like it. It was so crazy.
Yeah, it's the Antichrist grid system. And again, I want to keep hammering this because it really gets my heart.
Yeah.
How are pastors not talking about this? The same guy. He wants to put a chip in your brain.
Yeah.
He wants to connect. He wants to bring a new god that comes out of Memphis where the AI data center is.
Yep.
He wants to merge you with that AI god, which he also says that AI is summoning the demon. He's also in a boring company, Digging, which he had ties with CERN. Okay. He is building Starlink, where he is trying to connect everybody in the world, have full control over the internet, which is also another thing because it's super sketchy because there's a lot more control with satellite internet compared to cables, that go through the ocean. So once those cables are all cut, everyone's going to be dependent on Starlink. The same guy is also firing all these federal employees and then implementing AI governance and AI chatbots in the government. The same individual pushing for universal basic income, which is going to be the market, people dependent on the government money because you don't have a job. The same guy who is best friends with the president. Nope, don't talk about it. Now he's just a little weird, but good, Doge is taking care of the federal government. It's like, you guys can't even see the agenda. Like, I've heard pastors who are praising Elon for Doge and what he's doing for cutting federal workers. Like, are you blind? Like, what
I
are you
know.
talking about? Like, this is
It's
such a clear agenda. Like, what are you on? What are you smoking right now? Like, it makes me lose
and
it.
it's to produce AI jobs too. That's the other thing. It's to get rid of all of the jobs. I mean, again, I watched a couple of great prophecy updates this week when we're getting ready to get to the tariffs and stuff. But I just don't think people realize like how much of all this stuff is going to affect like the American worker, the farmer, the factory worker, and going back to the robots that we just saw, the demodog looking things, the demogorgon looking robots we just saw. Like soon it's going to be, you got your robot horse, and then you got your actual robot that sits on the horse who's doing the military stuff, like totally iRobot style, Will Smith. Like that's what I think about. And Elon's robots look exactly like those ones from iRobot. I mean, they look almost identical. I'm waiting for the red light to pop up on their head. Like it's wild. I don't even know. I don't know.
I know it blows my mind. It really, and again, the pastor's not talking about it is my issue. Like, how are you staying silent in the pulpit? Like, you need to be preparing your congregation of what's coming, because it's going to affect all of us.
Yeah,
it's going to affect all of us. And why are you not preparing your congregation? Why are you not warning them? Because I guarantee you there's federal workers in these congregations who are getting fired, who then, it's also going to affect everybody else. And then they want to praise these individuals. It's like, how can you not see what's going on? But again, it goes back to the heart. We know that. I'm just venting because because like, I'm just this random dude, that like, what do I know? I didn't go to seminary, but it's like so clear to see. It's like, right. But it's like, that wasn't my life. But for me to see what's going on, and then to see these pastors who have spent years, right, going to seminary, learning all this stuff, just not talking about it. It's like, guys, where are you? But then biblically that makes sense, right? Because biblically there's always a small remnant, and there's always a small group that sees, and then it's the greater group that can't see, right? I mean, it's actually a great typology or reflection. And I was talking about JB with my last show with him. Like, right now, the state of the church, it's such at a state where, like, we're crawling across the finish line, and we gotta tag team the 144,000. Like, we've become so, like, the church has become Israel, in the sense of, like, Israel failed being a light to the world, and the church has done the same thing. And I feel like it's God's way of showing both to the Jew and the Gentile, like, you guys are flawed. Watch, I'm going to take care of this with my 144 perfect, vessels here, the virgins who are blameless, that are going to go and just, these are going to follow the Lamb wherever he goes. This is the way right here. I still redeem you guys, right? I still work through you. But like, right now, I just see the church so disorganized, so apostate, both sides, backbiting back and forth. And I just feel like we're like crawling across the finish line. Just tag team the 144. Get him over here. We're done. Like, get us out of the ring. We're doing more harm than good. We're doing, like, as a whole, as a corporate.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, as a corporate, we're doing more harm for the image of Christ or the representation of Christ than we're doing good. Like, because right now you have non-believers looking at Christians like, what are you smoking? You're supporting Trump, this like really evil man. Like, again, like, he does good things to deceive you to think he's a good dude. Like, that's how deception works. Like, you do some good things to then win sympathy, to then deceive. It's what predators do. They are predators. But for unbelievers to see Christians like idolize the man, calling him a King David, it's like, no wonder why they look at us like, what are you guys smoking over there? This guy is not good. He is a billionaire who has all these billionaire friends, who has how many pictures with with Epstein, who has pictures with P. Diddy, who has all these weird things, right? No,
it's the Kevin Bacon game all over again. It really is. I mean, I don't understand how people can't see that, but what do I know?
Exactly. I just feel like I'm taking crazy pills, like as a Twilight Zone. Like how
we all are.
Like, how are you not seeing this, guys? Like, you can lay it out, and they just look at you, and it's that confirmation bias. It's that cognitive dissonance. Like, so it's like, okay, just love them. Give the information, and don't have frustration. That's where I'm working on, working on my own heart. Like, don't get frustrated.
No, me too. But here's what's cool though. is that I have been able to have conversations with people that are vehemently liberal, right? Like they're just like diehard liberals on everything. And I found that I've been able to have some common ground with them, because you can open up a dialogue about this stuff and then they're like, wait, what? Like you're a Christian and blah blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, I'm ultra conservative. Don't mishear what I'm saying to you. Like I'm not for all the things that you stand for, but you can actually have a dialogue with them, because and then that opens the door to literally talk about current events, Jesus, the gospel, all the things, and tie that all in together, because they see some of this stuff, and again, I know like it's like the left is unwilling to call out their own crap on their side, and the right's unwilling to call out their own crap on both sides. And I'm just trying to be an equal opportunity hater to all of it. Like that's what I'm trying to do. But it is totally opening up the door to be able to have that dialogue with wherever this person is coming from. And that's really interesting to me, to be able to have this conversation with somebody who is super liberal, who believes in all kinds of things that I don't support, and to actually find some common ground with them, and then actually be able to share the depth. And then they're going, I think I'm going to look into that. I think I'm going to look up what you're talking about. Like, it's kind of cool. Like that part has been really cool. So, that's kind of where I'm trying to go with it on that part, for people who are just too caught up in the politics of it. But hopefully I feel like more people are seeing it, which I'm very happy about, because I felt like we were the Lone Rangers during the election and prior to that. And now people are starting to see it. And even just the comments here on the channel, dude, when we do videos and stuff like that. I mean, the series I did on Brave New World with Aldous Huxley. Did you get a chance to watch those?
I watched parts of it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I had just tons of amazing comments of people going, oh, wow, this makes so much sense. I'm like, well, I'm so glad, because I'm not trying to just call out Trump on everything. I'm just trying to, like I said, I'm making a joke, being an equal opportunity hater, but everybody already knows what's wrong with the left. Like I have to call out the deception that's on the right, because that's, we say it all the time, Matt, but the devil ain't going to show up as some red dude with some horns and a pitchfork and a big long tail. Deception is actually going to look like the truth. That's what it's going to look like. And there might even be parts of it that are truthful, right? So it's one of those things that I feel like we just really have to be, we have to be on our guard against. And I think for me, I can't speak for you and I won't, but I mean, coming out of the politics of it has probably been one of the most freeing things for me, because now I don't know. Like for me, whenever I see a headline, I'm just going, what's the real story here? That's where I'm at now, instead of getting all up in arms, because they do this stuff all the time. I mean, even just this week, Lance and I were talking last night. I said, what drives me crazy? I was like, all these people are, the big talking heads online. They're all like, well, there's going to be this meeting this weekend with Iran, and they're going to talk about nuclear stuff. And one guy said that if they don't do this with the nuclear program, he's not showing up. And I'm like, why are they announcing all of this to the world? Like, what is why? It seems scripted to me to go, we're having all these meetings, and, I mean, the war drums are just right now, with all this stuff going on with Iran. And for me, I'm just like, I see it all. But for now, I'm just going to stay back and go, what's the real story, and wait to see what happens with it. Because it almost seems like there is this goal. And again, figured this out in 2020. There's this goal to keep everybody in this perpetual state of fear for the next shoe to drop. That's what I feel like is going on all the time. So the anxiety's high, the overwhelm is high. And then, honestly, sometimes it feels like it'd be better to have your head in the sand and not know what's going on, because there's so much fear, and the news media is just like, it's overwhelming. So there's that, I don't know, there's that fine line, I guess, of figuring out where you're going to land on how much you take in every day. But man, since I don't follow the politics of it anymore, I'm just able to sift through the crap and figure out, like, what's the truth? Where does the truth lie? Not like, who do I like? What do I have to figure out what is the truth, not my truth, the truth. What is the truth here? And that's really what I think we all need to be focused on, because I think, again, we say it all the time. I feel like a resounding gong, but the deception is going to get bigger and harder to discern. It just is. So.
Oh yeah, you're spot on. And that's why I want to try in my videos to not tell people what to believe, but teach people how to think. Like, you don't have to agree with me, but I just want people to try to take a step back and look at the bigger agenda, to try to look at a bigger picture, because with all the different psyops and all the different chaos and confusion, all this different magic that they are literally casting over people, and people, magic is not this hocus pocus type of, fantasy thing. Like magic is spells where they do these rituals, or they know how to use psychology or sociology to, social engineer individuals. So they are trying to cause so much confusion, so much distraction, and they want you to hyper focus on one thing, to not take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Again, I love using this as an example, which I know we've talked about before. We talked about earlier here with the immigration issue. That one is a prime example of the problem, reaction, solution. You have the left wing, the blue, the Democrat of the false dichotomy, false paradigm. Allow all these immigrants in, just flood them over, pay them to bring them over. And then you have the strong justice of the right wing, the red, come in to then put their foot down to then implement biometrics, a surveillance state, because there's a problem now. So now we need to implement.
That they created.
Yes. It's what that they've created. That is the bigger agenda, because some people will go, well, they need to, implement these things because the border's wide open.
Yeah, we have a real problem at the border, but they engineered it.
Exactly. And now the solution is like they wanted this solution all along. Like that's what's so painful. It's like, guys, I get it. Like the same thing with a lot of things that Trump is doing. It is a solution to a problem they created. So just take a step back and look at the bigger picture. And when you have the spiritual eyes of knowing Bible prophecy and knowing the end agenda, it makes it very clear. Like, oh, okay, they want to implement surveillance state, enslavement through artificial intelligence will control everything. It is complete control grid, where we are then going to see this antichrist figure rise, who is going to then be charismatic, and then sooner or later will then require worship in the end, right? It's all going to be very spiritual as well, and they're going to merge spirituality with it, which they are already doing. Again, actually interesting, going back to the resurrection idea of the dire wolf, we are actually seeing this too with AI, and they are resurrecting biblical characters through chatbots that you can now talk to, Mary, or you can talk to Enoch, or the one that kills me is you can talk to Samuel. That went well with First Samuel 28. Let's resurrect him. Let's see how that goes. It's just like right over people's head. I know you're not. Like, I know you're not talking to the literal Samuel, but it is the principle. This idea of like, oh yeah, let's resurrect. Like, guys, do you not see where this is going? It's not, this isn't a good road. And just, again, there's only so much we can do, but at the very least, don't believe lies. There's something to be said of just seeing what's going on and just not believing a lie, that there's some type of authority and power in the spiritual realm of having that, again, because we're not going to be able to change what's going on. We can't stop this runaway train, but we cannot believe the lie. We cannot be sucked into it and then work on our own hearts to the Lord and, seek him for guidance through this crazy storm. So it's just, it is just, something that I just want to, everyone watching this video, look at the bigger agenda with everything, even in your own personal life, whether it's work or, relationships. Try to take a step back. Don't hyper fixate on one thing. Try to take a step back. Like if your boss is being unfair to you, okay, take a step back. What's going on, right? With individuals, with communication and relationships, always look at the bigger picture in all aspects of life. It's just a good, principle in life.
Yeah, amen. And it's funny, we're going to talk about the biometric surveillance, that in the second video that I did on that mini series about Brave New World, I literally hammered all of that home, talked about, the problem, reaction, solution, and I really talked about why Trump had to be the selection in 2016, right? Why it couldn't have been Hillary, because there's no way any Christian, even if you weren't a Christian, any red-blooded American that was a Second Amendment person would have taken the tyranny that came down on us in 2020 had Hillary been in office. It wouldn't happen.
No way.
It just wouldn't happen. But we certainly accepted somebody from the podium telling us what to do that we all liked and thought was on our side. And so, again, and then there's a reason why he couldn't have been the guy in 2020. Like the economy and everything had to get so bad, it had to be so ridiculous that they'd be crying out for the guy that we have now, and everybody would rally to his cause. I cannot tell you how many people that I personally know that are diehard liberals, and they were just so ready to go out and, and vote for Trump in 2024. It's crazy. Yep. So if you guys have not seen that video or that series, definitely go check that out. I put together a lot of pieces for you guys, and it was actually a lot of fun putting that one together. So speaking of tariffs, let's get into this. Okay, so let me pull up this article. Matt, you can go ahead and do a little dance or something while I'm pulling this one up.
Oh yeah, well, this whole tariff thing is going to have a lot to do with the chaos magic that the magician Trump
Uh-huh.
likes to implement. Again, the magician idea is just someone who can manipulate or cause this confusion, and he knows how to do it perfectly. He knows how to get people riled up. He can get people to love him and deceive them, and also get people to hate him. And I don't think he cares what side you're on. He just wants you
Mm-mm.
polarized. Like the enemy just wants polarization to then go
Yeah.
after each other. So this tariff thing is a perfect example of that.
It is, and I'm pulling this from End Times headline just because I grabbed it 3 days ago. But I just I need some headline to show you guys. But Trump tariffs could mean we'll be paying $2,300 for a new iPhone in the future. So I read through this article, and it was talking about how the outlet cities and analysts who estimate that if Apple were to pass the full cost of these tariffs on to consumers, iPhone prices could surge by 30 to 40%. So this is insane. Like, it absolutely is insane. And that is exactly what will be happening, because I think the thing for me that is killing me with some of this stuff that I'm seeing with the tariffs is make sure I word this right, because I have it all kind of written down in my outline. First of all, let's actually start with what the definition of a tariff is. It is a tax or duty to be paid on a particular class of imports or exports. So at the end of the day, when you hear the word tariff, just think tax, because that's exactly what it is. So I was watching Zach the Wretched Watchman did a really good update this weekend on, I think he called it a terrifying time, is a really good play on words for his video. And I watched the whole thing, and it was I watched it before I got dressed to go to work one day, and it was awesome. And he played all these videos and stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is just really good to put all the pieces of the puzzle together. So anyway, he had this quote from the Commerce Secretary Lutnick, and the guy was using the example of Fuji water and Poland water, basically stating that foreign goods are going to become more expensive, but domestic goods do not. And I was like, what person in their right mind believes that? Like, I mean, I know people probably do, but I guess I just don't I don't understand that the math doesn't math for that. And it's a false logic, because here's the real deal. United States companies still rely on raw materials. We still have, even if something you buy here in America that is American made, they probably still get parts or things from other countries that have these tariffs going on. And guys, again, if a leftist was saying this, every person on the right would be just throwing a fit. If the person on the left was going, don't worry, they're not going to pass that cost on to you as an American. They're going to eat that cost as a business.
Yeah.
Like that's the part that drives me nuts, because domestic prices are also going to increase to compete. They will. Even if you don't buy the import anymore, the domestic person, the domestic business still is going to see a way to make money. So they're going to drive up their price. So even though it's not as high here, it's still going to go up from what it was. Like, this is just basic economics. So I'm really not understanding how the computing is going. And then again, we put this outline together several days ago. Well, now things have changed again. That's how fast, as we've talked about, how things are moving. But now what are we up to? 125% tariffs on everything with China. China just basically I saw something before you and I got online about how something about any Americans that are here that buy anything are going to be charged 125% tax. Like, guys, like, everything we own is from China. Like, y'all can look at all my little decorations back here, whether I got them at Hobby Lobby or somewhere else. You know what they say on the back of them? Made in China. So, and then Amazon, I got a notice from Amazon that to get ready that some of my prices were going to go up from Amazon. Like, Amazon's letting people know that. So, and again, you go to Walmart, you go to Lowe's, you go to Dollar Tree, you go to Dollar General, anywhere you go, not everything is a domestic good. And even if it is, it doesn't mean that the raw materials or the things that it takes to make it are going to be from our country. We're not self-sustaining. It's going to take forever to even get that done. So I think that's one of the big things for me. And this just sounds like a huge case of gaslighting. And again, where I'm struggling is I'm like, okay, I'm not the smartest, cookie, right? Or the sharpest tool in the shed, or the knife in the drawer, however it's said. And I'm actually showing my intelligence by getting that statement wrong. But anyway, the point is like, it just feels like this is gaslighting. And I can see this as somebody who doesn't know economics the way an economic person does, or a business person who's a billionaire or even a millionaire. So how are some of those people? Because I know people, very wealthy people who are doing very well in business right now, and they are just shouting from the rooftops how happy they are about these tariffs. And I'm going, don't you make a lot of money? Don't you see, so I don't know. What do you have to say about this? Because this is where I'm just very confused at how people don't see it.
Oh, when it comes to people not seeing it, it's because, again, it's going back to their heart, because they have, you know how people call Trump derangement syndrome? Well, I call Trump idolatry syndrome.
Yeah.
People have so much idolatry for this guy. They think he is the greatest businessman, the art of the deal. He is just a super genius. They have drinking the Kool-Aid. They are off the ledge, just buying everything he sells because, again, he is the epitome of a narcissist, and he can just, pull people in because he's so charismatic. So they just believe that he's got this, 17D chess game plan, and he's going to do it, and it's like, again, this goes back to the bigger agenda. Take a step back. It's all by design. He is trying to cause as much chaos to the global economy to bring it down. Is a controlled demolition to then bring a new system back up. It is the order out of chaos, the phoenix rising from the ashes, and he's doing it right in front of everybody's eyes, where now, he's trying to blame obviously China and all these things, but it is a purpose of this chaos to, again, bring in order through it. It's going to be painful, but sooner or later, they want to implement the new digital currency, a new whole system, right? Like, that's where they're going, and gold will have something to do with it. In my own opinion, I think gold will have something to do with the crypto that they choose, that the crypto will be backed by gold, and then they're going to use that gold for the GPU, semiconductors for the, AI data centers. So it's going to have actual real world use. So it's not just like gold sitting in a vault. It's like gold sitting in the fortresses that the Antichrist is going to worship with this god that comes out of these fortresses of gold and all these precious stones that GPUs are made out of to have AI. So, it's all this greater agenda. So everyone who, is praising this, they don't realize they're praising the demise of our old system, which, again, I know that I know the fiat currency is evil, but once you get rid of cash, guys, it's over. Like, I don't think
have
people
no privacy
really
anymore.
They already you can't do anything with cash anyways. Like, anything over 10 grand, they got to report it to the IRS, right? Like, you can't transfer. Like, they're trying to limit it. Just, they want cash gone, and they want to try to blame criminals. No, they don't want it because they can't track it or trace it, and they want you to be completely dependent off of the new digital currency that they're going to bring in. I mean, you have the EU talking about how they're going to implement their new, I believe, EU currency or digital wallet in October this year, which is a huge, again, sign prophetically. So yep. So you got
watch
that
what's
going
on in Europe, y'all, man. That, I'm telling you what, dude, that they are tool. And we have people on this channel that are living in those areas. And sometimes the stuff that they send me, I'm just like, wow. It is wild. Because it's wild. Stuff is already happening there. Like, it's wild.
Yeah. And now what's interesting to see how everything plays out, because right now it's still up in the air who's going to be the leader of the beast system, because China is, China is all on board with 6G, AI, you know what I mean? Like, they've mastered that, right? So right now, this AI race it's like, how you had the atomic race or the moon race, who the space race, who's going to get to the moon first? Well, this AI race, it's like the race to summon Abaddon, in my opinion. It's the race to summon Lucifer with AI, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how things operate. And what's something to note, Starlink has, Starlink is in every country except, I think, China, Russia, Iran, North Korea. So, what I mean? So it's like,
Matt, who are the nations that are kind of just banding together right now?
The BRICS, I know. So exactly. So it makes so again, and then that also goes to the prophecy of the western leg and then the eastern leg of the the Daniel's chapter.
The empire.
The empire, right? So you have the Eastern Roman and the Western.
Chapter 2.
Yep, chapter 2. Yeah. So I think prophetically the western leg does win. So it's going to be interesting to see what does end up happening, but. Yeah, and Elon has his ties with China too, so it makes you wonder what's going on behind the scenes with him in China. We don't know. That's going to happen with this merging, where the because sooner or later the Antichrist, whoever he may be, he will, he's going to consolidate a lot of things, and it makes you wonder who are going to be the three kings he takes out. Will it be China, Russia, Iran, right? He takes out those three kings, or and then unites. Who knows, right? Like, a lot of it is speculation, but. We can see the writing on the wall. It's very clear. And again, for non-believers to, want to be in the political world and going back and forth, whatever, right? I mean, they don't have any discernment, but it's the pastors I have a huge
I
issue
know it.
with. I cannot stress it enough. Like my heart has been so vexed that I am so like passionate about, like I want to go to all these pastors and be like, what are you doing? Like how are you not preparing your flock? Again, not to scare them, just to prepare them. Like I see in the chat, like the older generation is going to have no idea what to do if we are still here and they go to a cashless society. Like we're not raptured yet, and we still, and then cash goes, the dollar collapses, and there's a whole financial crisis, and they implement some type of digital currency. They're not going to know what to do. So we need to prepare them mentally and spiritually. Like, hey, just be ready for something. So then you're not freaking out, and that you can rest in the Lord. We're going to get through it. But to not prepare them and to not, to have them so focused on the evil left, not realizing that the right is ushering this in full bore, runaway train, no brakes, just full steam ahead. And they're cheering it on, Lauren. They're cheering it on. Did you see
every bit of this is what I talked about in that Brave New World series. That
it's
I'm telling
crazy.
you, every bit of this.
It's crazy.
It is. And I think that it had to be this way because I think there would be such a backlash if it were the other way around. I think that, again, people would see through the deception because it's so obvious. Well, right now it's not obvious. You get somebody up to the podium that people think is for them. They'll do anything they need. We gave up our freedom in 2020. Like, it's the same thing. And so the way you feel about where you're talking about with pastors, dude, this is where I was in 2020. I was on social media. This is before I had my channel or anything. I was yelling on my stories. If you're a pastor that shut down your church, you need to step down from leadership. I was just angry because I could see through what was going on. Like, you have no business being a pastor. The doors are always supposed to be open. If we have to go to jail, we go to jail. Like, but I was so frustrated because I couldn't understand, like, how are people not seeing this? Like, this is not about a virus. This is about our freedoms and our liberties. And at the end of the day, it's about our Christian faith. It's about our walk with Jesus. It's about us being able to carry the 66 books around. Like, and so I know exactly where you're coming from with where you're at with this, because I felt the exact same way in 2020 when all this stuff was going on. And that's why Lance and I walked away from the church we were going to. It's like, I'm not doing this. You're falling for the narrative, bro. What are you doing?
And I tell you what, like, this is where my imagination goes, and I know that the Lord gave us an imagination for purpose, and he likes us to have this imagination. But when you read Revelation 17 and you see the harlot, where she makes the kings and the inhabitants of the world drunk off of her wine of fornication, which we know is spiritual idolatry. This is where my mind goes when I see the Christian church at large, Laodicea, the apostate church, who are idolizing Trump, the ones who are painting Trump and they're worshiping him, and like weird little videos where they're calling him the King David and he's the Cyrus and he's going to bring a revival. What I see in my imagination spiritually, like all these pastors who are praising him, all these congregations that are worshiping him, thinking that he is this godly man, I see them in a spiritual state of being drunk. Like they're drinking at the altar with the harlot, and they got like wine, like the Kool-Aid all down their throat, and they're just drunk. Like they are just like, they don't even realize how drunk they are spiritually off of the idolatry that she is having them drink. Because again, it goes back to the idolatry. People have propped him up, not quite in place of Christ, but he is taking glory. Again, people don't understand where when you go back to the Israelites, when they built the golden calf, they did it unto Yahweh. They didn't like do it to another God. They were like, we're doing this for you, God. Likewise, you have Christians. Oh no, Trump's a godly man. This is from God. Like it's the same thing. Golden calf. You're taking this individual and propping him up, and then trying to then give credit to God, but you don't understand, like that is still an abomination, especially when you see the grander agenda. It's the agenda, and then the occult, and his love of the Greek mythology, and his love for Apollo, and all these weird things of the golden age, which goes back to Kronos, Saturn, and all this, again, Greek mythology, which are the fallen angels. They're in Tartarus, right? It's the same like storyline. It's just wild. It really is. But I love that we have an outlet with individuals who do see it too, because we're not the only ones. I get messages from people where they feel the same way, that they're at their church, they're sitting there, and they're like looking around, and all these people are like, and the pastor is like talking, and it's like, how are you guys not seeing it? And then what's sad is because you have everyday brothers and sisters in the congregation, they can't even say anything because then they'll be ousted and they'll be ridiculed. And it's like, you know what? That's why the Lord has placed it on both your heart and my heart, and people like Zach with Wretched Watchmen, and JB to speak against it, because someone's got to do it. Like, if the shoes are going to get filled. If God's not going to use these pastors, he will raise up random nobodies to then speak the truth. And it's like, you know what? If he can use a donkey, he can use me, he can use you, he can use anyone, right? So that's why I want to encourage everybody who is watching this. Don't feel so isolated. You're not alone. You might be alone in your own physical church, but your spiritual church online and in the world, we see it. Like, we see what's going on. You're not alone. Be encouraged, and just stay strong and be bold. Like, don't back down. Do it in love, but speak the truth. Like, I say to everyone I can, like, to the people I see in real life, I don't sugarcoat it. Like, no, he's evil. Like, they're evil. They're bringing it in. Like, I'll tell you the truth. You can believe what you want, but it is what it is.
Yep. And like I said, I know I've said it so many times, but there's still this, patriot girl on the inside of me that, wants to see great things for our country. None of that stuff has changed. It's just when your eyes are open to what's really going on, you kind of grieve it. I mean, I definitely have grieved it. No doubt. I have totally grieved that whole thing. And it's just, it sucks, but it's like, I'm really glad to hear there's a lot of people in the prophecy community that are really, like I said, starting to see all this, and they're coming out, talking about the fact that, like, hey, everything is speeding up. We're not on our reprieve. Billy Caron has been on a rampage lately. It's been awesome to see him talking about all this stuff. Like, it's not slowing down. He has a new book out or something like that. He's tying together a lot of dots on things. And I was like, hey, it's really good to see, because people are waking up to the fact that, like, what went down was supposed to go down. This is how it's supposed to go. But, it is picking up the pace a lot faster. So the other argument for this, the whole tariff situation that I've seen, is that somehow these tariffs are going to bring manufacturing back to the U.S. because everybody is like, they're wearing their American flags. They have all this pride, which I get. But when this is what's hilarious, when Trump made a claim that if you could bring back everything to the U.S. for manufacturing in 2 years, and these economists just laughed. They were like, you can't even drop a plan in 2 years. Like, you barely have a PLA in 2 years. And so real time, what they said, and these are guys who are, super duper smart on all this stuff, it would be a 10-year minimum for functionality. And that's not even at full capacity, just to get things here back in the US, 10 years. And the reality is, this is where we were talking about Doge, and I wanted to tie this together. The reality is that Doge is actually being used to collect data to replace human jobs anyway. So what a lot of people don't realize is, like, again, all of this stuff is manufactured crisis so that they can put the replacements in place to get to the technocratic system that they want, which, by the way, is Brave New World. And so you're going to have AI and robotics they're literally replacing entire departments right now, entire departments. And factory jobs are not going to be coming back. They're going to be using, because that's what I've heard a lot of people say, well, this is going to be so good because the factory jobs are going to come back to America. No, they're going to use robotics for all of that. Car manufacturing, all of it. It's not like, so I don't understand. Again, and again, I am absolutely happy to be wrong. If people have other evidence of stuff, that you go ahead, I'll listen. But just based on my own research and everything that I've seen, I don't see how that's plausible. Based on the trajectory that we're going, I don't see how that's plausible. So, Matt, my question for you is, do you think there's any realistic probability of bringing back a large-scale labor force when AI is doing everything? Do you think that's plausible, that argument?
No. Like,
no.
No. Hey, to be honest with you, how I'm seeing things right now is it makes me wonder, like, again, I know no one knows the day or hour, but it's almost like they know the rapture is so close because of how, they're acting so urgent with trying to, like, fill these jobs, as if they know that there's going to be a mass departure where they need to have these jobs. Yeah, they already need what these jobs that Christians are doing. They need to have AI already doing it. So then when the rapture happens, it goes right into the system where it doesn't, like, skip a beat, because why, like, out of nowhere, it's like there's a rush. Like, what's the rush? Like, why? Like, it's weird, right? Like, it came out of nowhere. It's like, okay, like, we gotta go, we're gonna fire, and we're gonna get these jobs, and we're gonna get AI. It's like, what happened? Like, why is, like, like why is there like this pressure? Makes you wonder. And then I'm sure you know like the whole Tom Horn with Apophis 2029.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That
Oh yeah.
that one, I love Tom Horn. I love his heart, and that's a wild story how he
I wish he
prophesied.
were around right now. I would love to have a conversation with Tom Horn,
I
get him on here,
know.
and be like, bro, let's discuss.
Oh, I love him so much. He had such a great heart.
Yes.
And I love how like he prophesied the departure
Yes,
of
he
the
did.
last pope. Like
Yes, he
and
did. Yes,
people
he did.
ridiculed him, and then so
Oh, I know.
it's like okay, so he had that prophecy correct, right?
Yeah.
And then for him to have that dream of Apophis, and
Yeah.
then for everything to line up with like the feast dates too, makes you just go and then everything else with AI, and then with Israel, and then Iran, and then all the this geopolitical confusion and economic stuff. Like, so all these things are converging. So then it makes me just sit here with my own little peanut brain, kind of going, "Huh, all right." Like,
And how your brain sees all the patterns.
oh yeah, it all
People
connects,
love that about
right?
you, by the way. They love that about you. Yes.
It all
It's
starts to
awesome.
connect, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
again, it's just like pattern recognition. Like, it could be a whole nothing, right? Like I'm a finite man. Like I could be completely wrong, but everything is just coming together all too well. Like it's like perfect. It's like too perfect. And that's how God operates, right? I mean, Jesus came in with his triumphant entry perfectly falling with Daniel's 60th week or 70th week prophecy, right? To the day he comes walking in. So it makes you wonder, all right, there's a day set that everything is going to happen on it's appointed.
Absolutely.
And then that's why, like, again, I know we can't know the day or hour, but like it is.
We might know the year and the month. Hashtag Gary Spearman.
It sure looks like, I know, right? It sure looks like the tribulation is starting this October. My own opinion, like just like again, because of the Apophis prophecy from Tom Horn. Again, all speculation.
I know. Yeah.
To those numbers. Again, if we're here and it's November and there's no covenant signed, obviously it's wrong, right? So it's just interesting of like, okay, these are all kind of falling in. And then on top of that, because 2029 is where the prediction of artificial superintelligence or the singularity, even though that one report I gave you guys, AI 2027, they are predicting 2027 for ASI, but other individuals have talked about, and Elon agrees that 2029 is the year of the singularity of AI becoming this point, which falls perfectly with the whole 2030 agenda, and everything is just coming just locking in, coming together and fulfilling. And it makes sense. Like maybe they know Apophis is coming, right? Maybe that's the urgency.
Maybe they do.
Yeah, right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so they know that. And again, and that always gets people so frustrated because you have flat Earth people, which again, I don't have a dog in the fight, whether global or flat Earth. Like I see both sides. I stay out of it because, we're not going to know until
let
Jesus
me just
tells
say
us
this.
fully.
I don't feel compelled to discuss that on this channel. I have people that represent both. I love both of you guys, but that at this time, that's never going to be a subject that I want to get into on here. Love you all. I have my own opinions and they'll stay to myself, but so that's said, because they're all here.
Well, it's so polarizing, and I see both sides, so it's like, okay, like I totally see both sides. I'm not going to, it's like there's so many other things to be concerned about, in my opinion. I do get that if that is a lie, that would be a great lie that then deceives everybody. Like I totally get it, and I don't trust NASA a second, so there's a lot of weird things. So, but again, asteroids seem to be real, whether they're coming from us having a globe model or us being a flat surface and they're coming, it doesn't change the fact that we get hit by these rocks, so it's just interesting, and makes me have an urgency though to get myself prepared, my heart prepared. And I think that's the goal here. I know that's your goal too, of just preparing the body of Christ, the bride. Like we want to be those wise virgins that are looking and waiting for him, right? That we have our oils, our lamps filled with oil, that our hearts are in a right place. So when he comes, we have just like this longing for him, and that we've been loving others, and that judgment seat of Christ is just a pleasing moment of like all these rewards of love and fellowship with others. And, that we've had our hearts purified now. I want to talk about progressively. I know justification, we are purified, we are sanctified perfectly right now positionally, but I'm talking about a progression every day of sanctification, growing. And I want us to all be there, right? Like all of us just learning to love each individual, how the Lord loves them, to then be guided by him, and to have the fruit of the Spirit, which is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control, right? Having compassion, having sympathy, not having hypocrisy, being transparent, all these things where, I see a lot of the, like, again, the Christian nationalists or the right, they have a totally different Jesus. They have this weird Jesus that is their own fitting with this patriotism. And it's like, that's not the Jesus of the Bible. Like, when you read Paul, it's all about gentleness, kindness, compassion, reasoning with people, suffering for them, like these attributes and characteristics that are the suffering servant of Christ, that now we are supposed to be suffering servants in place and going out there and being salt and light, speaking truth, obviously, and being firm on that. But that's where, like, I want us to be focused on as the body of Christ, and knowing that we are so close to the end gives me that urgency just every day. Like, I'm praying to the Lord, being thankful for everything I have, and continuing to pray for discernment and helping each other out, right? Like, the videos I make, it's to help others see what's going on, to just pass on what the Lord's given me. Like, hey, this is what I'm seeing. I'm going to try to give it to you guys. Take it or leave it. It's just information, and people want to argue and, fight back and forth, and they don't agree with me. You don't have to. You don't have to watch the videos, and it's fine. There's plenty of other people online you can watch, but I really want people to focus on their relationship with the Lord and others, because it's so easy to be debating people and to have these intellectual, theological debates and high, lofty things. But it's like, is that actually pleasing to God? Or is loving people, having conversations for sure, but loving them, talking about their situation, having compassion, like caring about what you're going through in life? Like, that's what the Lord wants. Like, hey, what are you going through? Like perfectly, this at the beginning of the show, your brother, the situation, right? That's what the body of Christ is about. Like, that's what matters. And actually, a great testimony right now for everybody. With my ministry, I've grown a friendship with a brother named Tommy, who's in Tennessee, who has a horrible just circumstances where he broke his back falling off a roof, helping his friend roof, and he didn't have insurance because his friend wasn't, insured. Literally busted his spine. Horrible, situation. He had to go get surgery. They put metal in his back. A year later, it's infected. He almost dies. They take it out. Just like horrible circumstances. Terrible. His daughter has cancer. All these different things. But then he had a really low financially, where they had this van that pretty much gave out, and they didn't have any money to fix it, or it wasn't even worth fixing. So he reached out to me, which so now I make a video going, hey guys, like, this is what the body of Christ is about. If you guys, we can donate, I donate a little bit. If everyone just pitches in, we can help Tommy get a car and help him, get back on his feet. This is what the body of Christ is all about. So then he created a GoFundMe, which he was just asking for $6,000. He got 13 grand. And it was like so beautiful. That's what, and that's what like showed. Oh, and so that's what showed me. Like, this is what it's all about. Like, take away these debates and going back and forth, Calvinism versus Arminianism, Catholicism versus Eastern Orthodox. Like, this is what the body of Christ was about: coming together, helping out a brother. Not like, hey, what does he believe in though? What is his theological stance on? Like, all right, a brother needs help. We're going to help him, and
help that brother. Come on.
And it was beautiful. Like, that's what the body of Christ is about, coming together. It was so encouraging. It was so beautiful. And that's what I really want. Like, the ministry that me and Alina are trying to, do is to do that, to bring connections, to bring people together, to have fellowship, to help share what, the burdens that we're going through, to work on our emotions. And that's what it's all about, guys. Everything going on. There's so many attacks spiritually, and this is what we are here for. It's a juggling act. We want to talk about conspiracies and what's going on, but bring it back to what's truly important. And that's, again, our relationships, our heart posture, our maturity, spiritually speaking.
Yeah, good. And somebody said, just don't cross the line with ecumenicalism. We won't. Don't worry. We know all about that, brother. We ain't gonna be doing none of that. Matt's had the Catholic Crusades happen on his.
Oh, geez, I can't do it. I can't.
I've had to ban a Catholic podcast from my show, so it's fine. It's all good. I did want to go back to something that you said, because I'm like, ooh, our thinking is in line again. So a couple weeks ago, Pete was on the channel 2 weeks ago, something like that, and we were talking about the rapture. And Pete had him do this, go over basically this teaching that he did at Prophecy Watchers last year, and it was called the End Times Vanishing Point. And it's an amazing just teaching that he put together. So I had him walk through all of that. It was just so fun. He brought slides. It was great. So anyway, so Pete and I are talking, and we're talking about how, the rapture, when it happens, it's going to just change the world just in a freaking nanosecond. So one of the things I brought up was literally talking about AI and talking about, the robots and all this stuff. Like, again, we don't have to get on a huge tangent, but like all the flights that are just exploding in midair, all this stuff going on is like, so they can get AI pilots, like all this stuff is, manufactured. So anyway, so I told Pete, I said something to the effect of, what if it's not as big of a deal, though, in some respects, if we already have some of these things in place where the job forces have been already reconciled with robotics and AI and things of that nature, so that when the rapture happens and all these Christians disappear, it's not as huge of it's an impact, but not the same impact it would have been prior to robotics and things of that nature. So the fact that you brought that up, like that's the same line of thinking that I've been on as well, because I'm wondering, well, we know the Lord is coming at his appointed time, but we don't know when that is. We know we're in the season, but we have no clue. But if the Lord tarries longer, because we're not in that time frame that he's appointed, we could see some of this stuff come to pass. And if that's the case, when the rapture happens, it'll make an impact, but it wouldn't be the same as if we've got AI pilots and we've got, robots building cars and, robots running ambulances. I don't know. But my point that I'm making here is that if that's going on, the rapture won't make as large of an impact as it would right at this very second when we don't have those things in place. So I felt like we were on the same track there.
No, absolutely. And there's also another theory out there that it's going around how the rapture will be an atomic rapture or some type of nuclear war. Like that, like right. It happens at the same time. So there's so much confusion, like whether it's with Iran. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because bombs are going off, and so people are dying because of that, because they're being vaporized by nuclear weapons, and then it kind of covers the chaos of the rapture too. So because I mean, again, just hypothetically, imagination, Hollywood movie. Let's say bombs start going off with while the rapture happens. Like the rapture kicks off, then pressing the button to blow up everything. That would cause so much confusion. So then people are just running around. They don't really know what happened. Like people disappeared, but they also have all these other things going on. So it makes you wonder, like, well, what is happening? That'd be a great way of disguising the rapture, because people like literally got vaporized as well by the bombs. And so it's just as a theory and that's where they're talking about with Iran and the nuclear facilities, how we're getting close to that possibility. That's just a theory that has been going around out there.
Again, we're at that place where we know, Pete mentioned this on a show that we did months ago too, something to the effect of like, we're at this place now where we're talking about like, who is Mystery Babylon? We're talking about all of these things that are conjecture, because we've already, we've nailed down the hard stuff. You know what I mean? Now we're at the hard stuff that nobody has an answer for, because it's just fun to talk about. And that's one of those things that, I would agree. That's a really interesting theory that we'll have to just kind of watch, So, okay. So let me keep going, because I know we've got questions and everything. So we talked about the manufacturing. Okay. Here's the big one that I wanted to get over to people. So I'm going to show another picture. So, hold on. I gotta share screen.
Yeah. One other thing I want to talk to you about that, like you're talking about we all need to be careful with being so dogmatic with a lot of these end time stuff. Like, we want to be dogmatic about soteriology, the deity of Christ, how we're saved.
Yes.
That's totally dogmatic. Nothing's shaking that one. But when it comes to like Mystery Babylon or, the market, like this is like, don't be dogmatic. Don't like, I'm not going to have a hill I'm going to die on for some of this stuff. So we just got to be careful with that. I want to share with people.
Yes. Okay. So can you guys see that, Matt?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm going to read this. This was the other day. I got angry when I read this. Oil prices are down. Interest rates are down. The slow-moving Fed should cut rates. Food prices are down. There is no inflation. And the long-time abused USA is bringing in billions of dollars a week from the abusing countries on tariffs that are already in place. This is despite the fact that the biggest abuser of them all, China, whose markets are crashing, just raised tariffs by 34% on top of its long-term ridiculously high tariffs plus, not acknowledging my warning for abusing countries not to retaliate. They've made enough for decades, taking advantage of the good old USA. Our past leaders are to blame for allowing this and so much else to happen to our country. Make America great again. I shared that on social media, and I said, what world is that man living in?
His own world.
I know. I'm going to give you guys a real-life example here of this. First of all, gas is high. Gas is $3 a gallon out here for me. Now, Matt, I know that's probably cheap.
I know. Oh, I know. Oh, I know. I would die for $3. Yeah,
Right.
that sounds great
Matt's
to
on
me.
the left coast, guys, so
Yeah.
he's got really high gas
Yeah.
prices. But I want to show you guys a real life. I have a cat fuzzy coming into view here. I want to show you guys a real life example of this, and I was like, I have to just share this with people. Like, just let's get real for a minute. Okay, so I got two more pictures to show you guys. So he talked about grocery prices being down. He's full of crap, and here's why. So this is a screenshot from my Walmart order back in December, okay? Y'all see them Honeycrisp apples there? Matt, can you read how much that says it was? Was it $4.38?
It says for the apple, I see an orange.
Yeah.
I don't see an apple.
Oh. It's a bag of apples. It should be $4.68 for that bag of apples.
Oh, there it is. Yep, you're right. Yep.
Okay, that was in December, okay? Now, Honeycrisp are what Lance and I like to eat. We just like them. They're really good. I have not bought Honeycrisp apples since that day. And the reason I have not is because now, like literally a week later, when I went back to go get apples, this, by the way, I took this screenshot the other day. So this is a live picture here. Hold on here. Come on now. Here it goes.
Is it gonna be tough?
Here we go.
Oh wow, I doubled. Look at that.
So guys, like I'm gonna get real here for a minute, okay? Our grocery bill is insane for two people. We do not buy meat. My mother-in-law cattle ranches, so we get all of our beef from her. The only thing we buy is chicken sometimes. Like that's the only meat. Lance has these. Y'all know Lance's business is all fitness, right? He's a coach, right?
I was gonna say it's gonna be tough. He's got all that muscle mass. You got to support that.
I know.
You know?
The
That's
dude
a tough
lives
one.
on protein. Lives on protein. So he's got these pasteurized egg white shakes that he's done for like 15 years for his breakfast. So a little pro tip for y'all who like your protein. But he does 8 to 10 ounces. He does 10 ounces when I do 8. But he has pasteurized egg whites and he puts hot chocolate, like a tablespoon of hot chocolate in it, and he puts oats in it, and then he blends it up in our little bullet blender. He's been doing that forever. But those egg white cartons, now they've gone up under Biden's America like crazy. Used to be they were like $2.50 a container. Well, they are like over $4 something. This is $4.38 the last time I was able to buy them at Aldi, by the way. Not Walmart, I don't shop at Target, but you know. So anyway, so we haven't bought that. But that alone would make up $20 to $25 a week of our grocery bill because the dude has a lot of muscle he's got to maintain. So we're not spending that. We aren't buying eggs. Can't buy eggs from the grocery store. We actually get our eggs right now from our vet, whose last name is Butcher. Ironically, that's funny. But at any rate, his daughters are raising chickens. So they're providing us with farm fresh eggs, and we're paying less money than what they are at the store. But we haven't bought eggs from the store. My groceries bill is still $50 more for the same crap that we were buying. How? Yeah. Like, so when Trump is saying that this is down, there is no inflation. Like, I was so angry when I posted this on my Instagram story the other day. I'm going, this is like this is something I would have thought I would have been reading under the Biden administration, trying to convince me and play some kind of like psychological warfare on me that the things that I'm actually seeing coming out of my checkbook are false. So I don't know if you guys are still like, and I even asked in my story, guys, is it just me? Because are y'all experiencing this amazing wave of money back in your pocket in other states? Because I'm gonna tell you something. I read through the comments of that share, and I saw all these people going, I don't know where he's getting this from because it ain't changed in my area. And then some people were like, I'm so supportive of our president, but these changes haven't made it to me yet. And I was just flabbergasted. Well, as my sister-in-law says, my flabbers were gasted because I'm going, this is false information. How did he post this? Like, I have no words. So I wanted to rant about this tonight because I'm just saying, like, our expenses are still high. Everything has gone up and it has not gone down. And here we are, we pushing into mid-April?
Yep. I know.
That's my rant.
It's the coping mechanisms of people that you're talking about. They have a hard time admitting when they're wrong, and they just want to believe anything he says. It's how cults operate. When a cult leader has his following, it's that whatever the cult leader says, it goes. And it's the exact same psychological situation going on. I know people get kind of butthurt if you call MAGA a cult, right? Because they get insulted. But it just completely practical here, and just trying to be as truthful as possible. It is the same mechanisms. It is the same operation going on as a cult leader. He operates like a cult leader. People follow him blindly like a cult leader, no matter what he says. He's a genius. He is the best. He is the greatest. It's like that's what's scary. And then it's actually an interesting thing that you guys should all look up. It's called the law of stupidity, and it is terrifying because I think the first law of stupidity is you always underestimate how stupid people are, and then that second law is how dangerous stupid people are. Like just, and it talks about how intellectual people can be stupid. Like stupid is not about like IQ. Stupid is about like, again, like not seeing things like this and then being a mob mentality and then, burning people at the stake or doing things that are completely mindless with a hive mind mentality, which will be perfect with the AI thing because people are going to merge in with the AI stuff. And it's a group think thing. And that's what's happening with Trump. It's this group think of here is our fearless leader. He can do no wrong. Let's follow him. And he says that eggs are down, even though they're not. I'm going to believe him, right? I mean, it goes back to like Nazi Germany with, tell a lie big enough and you say it enough, people will believe it. And that's exactly what's going on right now. Just keep on saying it over and over. And keep on saying it. It doesn't matter if it's a lie. If you just keep saying it, they will believe it.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like I was even thinking when I was ranting about this, again, Lance and I don't buy junk food. Like honestly, we've gotten to the place now. Like if I make us something, like I make a killer homemade Dutch apple pie, but I do it all from scratch. Like we don't buy things. We have like French fries and things like that we buy. But my point is like we're not just going to the store and buying the frozen food section up. Like this is like whole ingredients for things to make meals and to, have, chicken on hand for the week or whatever. I mean, crap, a bag of jasmine rice is insane. So I'm just going like, I'm not in there buying. And somebody even mentioned in the comments, like a family size bag of like Reese's is like $15. That's highway robbery. I ain't paying for that. But I don't know. I just was like, I'm really flustered with seeing that because I don't believe that. I would believe that if I were actually seeing that, but that's not the case. It's just not the case. So
all by design.
Yeah, completely by design. So that is all of the ranting that I have. Before we get to questions, Matt, do you have any additional thoughts on maybe a story that's not getting enough attention right now?
There's a lot of ones with Trump and the judicial attacks where he's like just pushing he's winning a lot of things with the judges, which is concerning. He's breaking down departments in the government that have to do with election stuff and like, inspecting, politicians and things. So a lot of just like of these like safeguards that our democracy are being dismantled, which actually goes back to Curtis Yarvin and his dark enlightenment agenda on how to push forward with this consolidating power to the executive branch and making a type of Caesar. There it is, the Roman situation. And again, that dark enlightenment by Curtis Yarvin. Interesting how Elon was all about dark MAGA. So again, it's the same thing. It's the dark enlightenment bringing in this agenda. So that is one thing that people aren't talking about enough, and really kind of seeing like you're watching a consolidation of power to the executive branch where, again, it's going to be scary because it's creating a dictator. And, we saw what happened with Julius Caesar, how he made, Rome a, dictatorship type of deal. And Trump is seeming to be this typology of a individual who's also going to make this type of dictatorship, which is so funny because the crazy left have been talking about this forever. And everyone on the right just bats an eye like, oh, they're so silly. They're crazy. It's like, they're crazy in a lot of areas, but they are right with this one, and not to say that they wouldn't like their own dictator with their own views for sure. So like, they're still like,
they're still a bias.
Yes.
Totally.
So I want to be very clear here because so many people misunderstand what I'm saying. Like they're both the same. They're both the same coin, just different sides, but it doesn't change the fact of what Trump is doing. And there is a deeper ideology going on, and it's happening right now. And people they have no idea what's going on because again, they either idolize them or they're too distracted with all the other news. But that's something for sure in the news that's kind of going under the radar that not many people are talking about.
No, that's true. And I know we mentioned this offline before we got on, but even with the stock market, nonsense this week, it was crazy how all of the tech companies just went. And you said, what is it? Pharmaceuticals too?
Medical.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah,
again, the technocracy that people, it's like, just being built right in front of our eyes.
Yep. Okay. Questions. Here we go. This is from Scotty. I often wonder if the USA will be the revived Roman Empire or if it has to be in Europe like the original. What do you both think?
I think a combination of both. I think, I think we go hand in hand, really. I think it's going to be, or it's a possibility that America just gets wiped out with something. I don't know if you've ever
Or
seen
it
that.
could be it could be also the where the nations start to consolidate too. It could be a situation like that.
Could be. So possibility, but either way, whether America has a role or not, if it does have a role, it for sure is going to be part of the Roman situation. Well, that was another one. Trump saying that he was down for joining the what is it, the English commerce or whatever.
I saw that, the Commonwealth.
The Commonwealth. There it is.
Yeah.
That's a big one. It's like, what in the
I
world?
know.
Like, what the heck? And he was like all talking about how he loves King Charles. Like, what? Like, it's just like, what? Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, guys.
I'm just sitting here like,
yeah,
I know. And it's crazy because again, we can say that, we've talked about this before, but like, as far as a country as a whole, we haven't left we haven't left Great Britain, folks. Like New World was New World Order. It still goes back to Freemasonry. Like all of that stuff is still there. It's all tied together. So yeah, that's just, it just hasn't changed. So I think it could be a combination of both, or we really could see that whole consolidation of nations thing. He's still talking about Canada and Greenland and all of that. And I'm just like, okay, well, we'll just see what happens on that. Question 2, we kind of already answered this. This is from Kim, but thoughts on the plane crashes lately? Do y'all think it's a push for AI pilots or what? Absolutely. I'm not saying that, everything is engineered, guys. I have my tinfoil hat on, but not everything is. But at the same time, we just don't know what is and what isn't a freak accident and what isn't a planned freak accident. This one yesterday with the family that crashed in the Hudson River, that so reminded me of John F. Kennedy Jr. When I saw that, I was like, it was just weird to me. But yeah, I do. I think it's an absolute push because again, they're trying to, the technocracy situation is, I firmly believe this is how the NWO is going to be brought in, is through this method, which Elon is so funny. In my Brave New World series, I literally played a clip from Elon at the World Government Summit where he was literally talking about, hey, it's going to be like a whole lot like Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. I said, you don't say. So they're owning it. They're owning that that's what they're doing. So Kim, yes, for a long-winded answer, I absolutely think that's what's going on. Matt?
I think that in a combination that they don't want people flying. They want to limit our travel. So I think it's a combination of things, because I think sooner or later it's going to be so expensive that it's not going to be so common for us to just be flying back and forth everywhere and having that freedom. They want to really limit us. They want us in the 15-minute smart cities. They want us to be controlled. Yep. They don't want us flying around. It's all about control. Again, it's all going to go back to control. So I think that is a combination of the AI and also having us not fly.
Agreed. And then Keegan, I'll put this on here, but you said at certainty for uncertain times. Doesn't it remind you a whole lot of the queue with watch the planes, trains, and transportation? Yes, ma'am, it does. It sure does. Some of that stuff is very interesting that was talked about in those drops. That is for sure. Okay, next question from Oceana. Will Israel think things are good during the tribulation since they think they have the Messiah in the temple? Yes, ma'am. They sure will. They will not realize that, oops, we missed it. Oops, we've been betrayed. Oops, this guy is not who we think he is, until that abomination of desolation happens. That's when they're going to realize we've been duped. And honestly, go ahead.
I was gonna say there's some bad things are going to happen with the two witnesses. They're going to be like, that's why they want them killed. Like, get out of here, you guys are, you're causing all this chaos. So, but besides the two witnesses, they are going to have good. Yeah, they will have this protection and prosperity and stuff, I think.
Yes, absolutely. And you also have the 144,000 too that are going to come from the 12 tribes, right? So 12,000 from each. But in saying that, yes, a lot of, because again, right now, if y'all go and just get on YouTube, search some stuff at what these rabbis are talking about. Y'all, they're talking to the Messiah currently. Yeah, they're talking about that he's ready to reveal himself. They're talking about the third temple. You guys know we talk about that all the time on here. Like they're gunning for it. And that guy that they're waiting on, because they don't have our, they only read certain passages, and they surely don't read Isaiah 53. If they did, they'd really have to change some viewpoints. They don't see what's going on.
They do read Isaiah 53 and they interpret it that the suffering servant is Israel, which makes no sense, because Israel is never referred to as, it's always a woman. Out of nowhere, it's a suffering. So yeah, it's so crazy what they'll do and twist scripture to not let it be Jesus. So
yes, exactly. So there's a sect too that they don't even acknowledge Isaiah 53. They won't even acknowledge it. And then you're right. There's that sect that they basically give it. They allegorize the text.
Yeah.
Bam. All
When
right.
in doubt.
Question 4. Yeah, right. Hello.
Yep.
Question 4. Is the Antichrist supposed to speak really well? Wouldn't that rule out Elon Musk? Luke, you are 100% right, dude. That dude is just strings along sentences and doesn't enunciate well. But I can't say much because I talk 40 miles a minute. So I'm sorry to you guys who are watching me on the replay trying to listen at 2 times the speed.
Yep.
Matt, do you have anything to say about the Antichrist supposed to speak well, and wouldn't that rule out Elon?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's why I think he's a false prophet. I think he's going to be the one
You
that
do.
props up that. Yeah, like or at least in the sense of the check boxes that he checks. It's a more false prophet because he's tied with the image of the beast and implementing the mark of the beast. That will be, in my opinion, the technology of cryptocurrency blockchain. So yeah, I don't think he would be the. Even though I know there's people who have opinions that the false prophet is the Antichrist, that the first beast is actually a system or whatever, because the different heads or whatever. But again, I have a hard time going with that because we see later that both the first beast and the false prophet are in the lake of fire together. So it kind of shows like, individuals. But yeah, I agree. I don't think Elon, I don't see him being the Antichrist, but I see him playing that false prophet role if everything comes to fruition. Yeah.
And
What?
I think the thing to remember, guys, is that there's obviously been many people in history who looked like an Antichrist figure or who was a typology for, because the bottom line is that Satan doesn't know when God's appointed time is either. So he's always got to have a guy ready and waiting in the wings. And that person could be on the world stage and just hasn't, we're not going to know who he is because of just what the Bible says about, our departure and all of those things. I was listening to Lee Brainerd. Who was he on with? Might have been JB. He was on with JB the other day. I was listening to that podcast, and Lee was talking about that, how, he could be on the world stage right now. We just don't know who he is. Like, because he can't reveal himself because, again, the restrainer, us, the indwelled Holy Spirit filled Christian, we're holding that back. And until we're removed, he's not going to be revealed. So
Jared Kushner's a good little individual.
Go down that rabbit hole if you haven't.
Yeah,
he's an interesting feller.
Yeah.
Question 5. Do y'all think that USA could possibly be the new Babylon? From Lynn. Yes, I do think that. But here's the deal. I'm never going to be dogmatic about those things because I'll be honest with you. If some stuff starts coming up and Babylon's being rebuilt and all this stuff starts happening and it is Iraq, kind of got to look at that, But yeah, as of right now, I definitely could see that. There's a lot of symbolism. When you dig into the roots of our country, talk about grief. When you dig into the roots of our country, you can really start seeing some of those things come together and you go, oh man, this really makes a lot of sense. So yeah, I mean, I'm again, not dogmatic. This is one of those issues for me that's conjecture. And that, that's kind of, I used to be a person that believed it was literal. Mystery Babylon was Iraq, but as the last couple of years, I'm kind of leaning a different direction. So Matt, what about you?
Yeah, at the very least, the spirit of Babylon is here. The spirit, it's the spiritual. And what makes me lean towards it being that is you have the term mystery Babylon. So it's a mystery, the mysterion, right? So it's like, okay, well, mystery Babylon the Great on her forehead. So, okay, so that gives leeway because I don't want to because I know some people, it's got to be literal Babylon. I'm like, I get that. But
yeah, me too.
You do have the mystery word there. Which, okay, all right, interesting. Maybe that is alluding to the spirit of Babylon that is over America, which is very clear. Like we have that spirit. All the different atrocities we have gone through the world, all the blood that's been poured, all the false religion too. But I'm on the same page with you. I would lean to saying that America is Mystery Babylon, but I'm not dogmatic about it. If Iraq if something happens where it's a Wakanda situation of Avengers, and out of nowhere this perfect city comes out of Iraq and it's Babylon. Okay, all right, I know that's it. But
they unzip the dome that's covering it right now, and we're like, we didn't even know this was here.
Yeah, and that's the alien. Yeah, that's the aliens, right? Like they've been living here the whole time in the desert over there, and the Tower of Babel's there, right? Again, anything's possible at this point. Man. It's like, okay, here we are.
That's right, man. I consider it all at this point. Okay, last and final question. What if they say we were all abducted by the bad aliens, so they will fight when our Lord and Savior returns? Well, I actually think that's going to be the explanation. I'm sure you guys have seen my shirt, by the way. I'll link it, but it's sealedinchrist.org is where I got this from. I think this guy's a vet, and he has all these amazing shirts. Some of them are Rapture shirts, Christian shirts. I bought this one because it was just super cool and will get a lot of attention. But I actually do believe that this is going to be what they're going to say about us. And this shirt is just so cool because it's like a lion, fallen angel, super cool. But I think that, and this is the grays in there, you know, again, when you kind of dig into all this, it's a whole, well, it's a whole in itself to go down and research, but the grays and the Nordics are two different types of aliens. And I believe that there's going to be this, you know, conspiracy, if you will, about the grays being the bad guys and the Nordics have come to save us. And when I had Ellie Marzulli on here, we talked about, he actually has a track that he hands out, but it's a quote from Barbara Marciniak where she talks about how there's going to come a day when some 20 million people disappear because they couldn't keep up with the consciousness and the way things were going. They weren't vibrating higher enough. It's like it's basically this whole new age thought of the fact that there's going to be a point in time that all of a sudden people are gone. And then it talks about the brothers and sisters coming back to save humanity. It's crazy. So yeah, I totally think that. And, you know, again, when you look into the Battle of Armageddon at the end, it is an army that is coming to fight Jesus. And we're on the back, saddled up, not on robot horses, but on white horses. We're on the back of that. And Jesus is going to open his mouth and they're gone. But so I do believe that army is obviously going to be filled with humans who've taken the mark, which they're no longer. I think, again, Matt and I've talked about this in extensive lengths, but I don't believe you'll be, you know, you're not redeemable anymore because I think you've actually exchanged your genetics somehow. And then I think there'll actually be creatures involved with that. I think it's going to be like kind of Lord of the Rings kind of scenario of like all these different creatures and stuff that are, you know, there. So might be a long-winded answer for you there, Edward, but hopefully that gives you some insight. Matt, what say you?
Yeah, I would say that it's likely that's going to happen. And I think that in that time, whenever that is revealed, I think you're going to see how these good aliens, however they portray themselves, they will bring technology to mankind. And I'm sure Elon will have because Elon's already talked about how he's an alien. He's obsessed with going to Mars and right. Like he's got all this weird thing, right? So Joe Rogan has already declared if aliens were real, that Elon should be the representative of mankind to talk with them. Right. So it's like, that's kind of a weird thing to say, Joe. So I could see something happening where I can see something happening with like CERN possibly opening a portal, bringing in these entities that are, you know, these aliens, where then they bring technology, which goes back to the book of Enoch, right? Bringing technology or knowledge, where then this is where you'll see like that biodigital convergence and then mixing with technology just completely skyrocket, because they'll go back to kind of like the pyramids of Giza, right? Which you are actually already seeing how I'm sure you've seen the news about like underneath the pyramids, right?
That's wild.
So they're already like releasing this like ancient technology of like, oh, where do these people get the technology from? Oh, these entities are now back here to bring free energy, that you can suck free energy out of the ether, and that we actually are batteries. We can produce energy. So you won't need to be dependent on, you know, gas or fossil fuel. You'll have free energy that you produce, and that you can link up with technology and 6G to this. And this technology is coming from these good aliens who care about us, who are trying to unite us, Tower of Babel stuff, that we can ascend and become our own God. And we can live in this kumbaya with Gaia worship, Mother Earth worship, everyone live in it, a 15-minute smart freedom city, because, you know, we got to let the earth, replenish. And so I can totally see that coming. All the Christians who hated the environment, they're gone now. You know, these individuals now, we can really get ready to, you know, fight this evil entity, Yahweh, right? You know, this evil entity that took these people, right? So so I can totally see that happening. Now, how it completely comes to fruition, I don't know, right? Like, I'm just seeing a lot of things, and like you brought up the occult, these New Agers, they channel these entities and they talk about the great departure, right? Or the, you know, the great disappearance of these individuals that will disappear, and you know, they'll be in different spacecraft, they'll be re-educated. And this is an interesting, like, again, just a complete conspiracy. But wouldn't it be interesting with these digital twins, these AI digital twins, and I'm sure they already have, through our social media, already have our faces. There's actually an AI app, which is terrifying, that you can look up and there's all these pictures of you everywhere, right? That you can find. It's really scary, but they have our voice.
I wish you hadn't told me that, but thank you.
Oh, it's really scary. Oh, it's terrifying. Like, I guess it has like everybody. I guess companies are using it to then find people. Whatever. evil
my
stuff.
gosh.
But yeah, but wouldn't it be interesting, right? If again, this is complete speculation, guys. So please understand, I'm not telling you this is going to happen. This is my own imagination. But what if they have these digital AIs of everybody? The rapture happens, and they use your digital AI to FaceTime your family members, whoever else is here.
I
That
think that's plausible.
we're safe up here. We're being
Yeah.
re-educated. We're being shown the right way. We're going to come. It's just a way to explain it. Or you know what I mean? Like it's just weird things that what if that's a way to explain to some people, because the deception is going to be so thick. Like remember 2 Thessalonians, this deception is going to be
Strong
unlike
delusion.
it is going to be insane, and God's going to
Yep.
send it,
That's
and
right.
yeah, so again, just interesting stuff. We'll see, but I definitely agree that the alien thing will be a huge thing that's going to unravel, and that's the only way I can see them explaining away the rapture. I think that's the most logical explanation.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. And you know, it's funny. That's an interesting theory that you have. But I would say let's just run with that for a second. Let's say that that's accurate. That there's going to be an AI Lauren and an AI Matt and everybody else in the chat who's going to beam me up Jesus when the trumpet sounds. This is all the more reason why it is so important to live your faith out loud. Because if you have some kind of AI, double of yourself who is talking about, I'm getting re-educated so I can vibrate higher and I can get to the right consciousness. Somebody who knows you, who knew exactly what you stood for, is going to go, that ain't how that is not even accurate. She would never say that. She doesn't believe in that. In fact, she's like, she's so against that. Matt's so against that. I've seen their videos and they've preached against that. So it's going to be really, it's really important just to live your faith out loud, because you need, people need to know exactly what you stand for on this stuff, because it is, I think all of it is just converging into one giant, just bomb explosion with all of it.
Yep.
So,
Completely.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, man, well, Matt, we did good. I think we,
got through a lot.
2 hours. Yeah, we did. We did really good. Do you have anything you want to say before we hop off?
Yeah,
any last words, Matt?
Yeah, I think we covered it all pretty much. I really want people to be encouraged, though. Just again, remember your identity, guys. Remember who you are. Remember our hope. Like it's so easy to get caught up with all this stuff, to fear, anxiety, stress. Go back to knowing that you are secure in Jesus, and that right now He is preparing us for the millennial kingdom. So, like, I feel like it's hard for us to really grasp what the millennial kingdom is going to be like, what eternity is going to be like, but it's going to be similar to what's going on now, just with no sin. Like we're going to have jobs, we're going to be doing something. It's going to be with relation. And one thing that's funny, right? Like this idea of ruling and reigning. Well, who are we ruling over? Who are we reigning over? Well, it's going to be mortals, in my opinion, right? The mortals that enter the millennial kingdom that then start to, repopulate. Well, guess what? They're going to be knuckleheads. Like they're not, we're going to have to teach them. So right now, what you're dealing with, the frustration you're dealing with someone, or you're trying to grow in an aspect, or you're trying to, have these relationships. God's using this right now to prepare you. It's like a boot camp to then rule and reign with Him, to then help out the mortals understand the ways of Jesus, just like He taught us. So just remember that. And it's really useful to keep your mind focused on what the millennial kingdom is going to look like, that we have a purpose. And right now He's preparing us to then transition into that world, and to not get caught up so much down here with the little things that are just meant to frustrate us, to cause anxiety. Just like, hey, it's all going to be good. Like it's all temporary. Everything down here is temporary, but our life is now eternal in Jesus, and we give Him praise, give Him thanks for it. So really just be encouraged, guys. I really want to focus on that, because so many like end times people can be very doom and gloom, and a lot of, because fear sells, no doubt. Fear sells. It
does. Yep. But, just like sex sells, so does fear. It's
true. Completely. Yeah. So like, I want us to have this happy medium of like, all right, I want to talk about what's happening, but let's always refocus back. Jesus is the author and the perfecter of our faith. He's going to finish it. He's going to complete it. He's going to carry us, and we can rest in Him. So again, just remember where your mind's at, where your focus is at constantly. So everything that you are seeing in the world, you filter it through the eyes of Jesus, and that He's with you and He's going to guide you through it. So I just want you guys to be encouraged out there.
Amen. And let me say this, just because, we are doing this for one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to share the gospel of Jesus Christ. If you've made it this far through this 2 hour and 15-minute show, and you do not know what Jesus has done for you, it is so simple. It is as simple as A, B, C. Admit and own the fact that you're a sinner. You cannot fix your life yourself. There is not a good enough deed you could do to get right before a holy God. And the second one, B, is to believe on Jesus Christ and what he did for you. He came to this earth. He paid your sin debt, stood in front of the judge, took your sin upon his back and said, you know what? I'm going to pay it. I'll pay it because I love you that much. And the last thing is just to confess and let him know, like, Jesus, I get that I cannot do this on my own. And so if that's you today, do not let another day pass you by, because you are not promised tomorrow. The trumpet could sound. You just don't know. It is a gift. Every breath that we take, every ounce of oxygen that we get to breathe, it is a gift, and you just don't know when your card is up. And if you have more questions, or you're one of those that's a skeptic, I welcome that. I actually have a video that will pop up at some point at the end. It is also in the description box here, talking about heaven and hell, asking all the questions that the skeptics ask. I've gotten them all, and I have that video specifically for you. If you are a skeptic, go watch it. It will help you to connect some dots and answer the questions. And because there's nothing you could say that would offend me, to help you figure out who Jesus is, I want to help answer those questions. So you can check out that video. So, well, with that, Matt, I think we'll call it a wrap. So yeah, let me give my normal tagline. Keep your eyes on the sky. Keep your ear listening for that shofar. We will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.